Hello everyone and welcome to episode 170 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week I'm joined by Jake.
Hello.
And Shane.
Hello.
We got a fair amount of news this week. There's a lot of little things going on. It's been a little while. We're doing this on a Sunday rather than a Friday, so a bit of extra news, a lot of completions, been playing a lot of games, so plenty to talk about. As always, we do the show live. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us on Twitch. Come say hi, hang out in the chat. See the Moon Zombs in here already, along with my wonderful wife. So thank you for joining us. Feel free to jump in there, shitpost, ask questions. We try to interact with the chat as much as possible, as you all well know. I'll quickly check in on you guys. Jake, how you been?
I've been good, busy, but getting more games in, playing a larger variety of games recently, and gearing up for a little personal self-set challenge that I can go over. I'll probably go over a little more when we get to the what have we been playing section, because I just kicked it off yesterday, 2 days ago. It's very, very recently, I think. But finding time to play games again, which is good, as always.
Oh, great. Shane, what about you? How you been doing?
Oh, living the life. I overthrew a government last week. We've been really busy in the tech industry. A lot of sales going on. Once in a while, achievement hunt, the usual.
Getting it, yeah. That's fair. I was going to make, actually, I'm not going to make that joke because we're live and I can't
This one
that
does.
out.
Nope, say it. Go ahead. I got the hashtag ready.
I was going to...
Go ahead.
I was going to say overthrowing governments is just a Latinist pastime, right? You just kind of...
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. We were really good at that.
Yeah, exactly. No.
I mean, most of the world, we've been there, done that,
Yeah, exactly.
Little revolution every once in a while.
100%.
But then you get Spanish food and Mexican food.
That's true. That is one of the biggest drawbacks about living on an island out in the middle of the Pacific, is that I have met one Mexican person and his name was literally Juan, and that was getting Mexican food over here is so difficult.
That's pretty common.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, if it was going to be called anything, right, the Juan is most likely, right? But, yeah. Man, Taco Bell just doesn't do it, It's just not, I mean,
oh my God,
I like Taco Bell.
I grew up on chilaquiles and tacos, but I will take a Taco Bell any day, man.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Did you know? I'm hijacking this gaming podcast and making it about food. That Ireland just got their first Taco Bell recently.
I mean, we only got Taco Bell a few years ago. To be fair, it was
you can finally taste freedom.
There was a big demand for Taco Bell over here, and it took a long time to happen. But I think the same company who owns Pizza Hut and KFC over here, it might just be KFC over here. I don't know. But anyway, they finally brought it over, replaced our local Wendy's, which I was a big supporter of because the Wendy's here is trash.
And then it was like you realized you got what you've been wanting for so long, and then you finally had it, and you were able to genuinely taste disappointment.
100%. Yeah. Well, to be fair, when Taco Bell came here, and my wife says in the chat, Taco Bell here is too healthy. The thing is, we have food standards here, so they were like, they can only bring over a small subset of what actually allows you guys are allowed to eat in America. So I didn't get a quesarito.
Is it Crunchwrap?
The Crunchwrap is there, yes. So the Crunchwrap does exist, but no quesarito. And I was like, I used to live on those when I used to live in the States. That was my go-to.
You want that questionable meat, that cheese?
Cheese question mark?
And
yeah.
Some sour cream and tortillas.
Yeah.
All the ingredients are in quotation marks. Beef and cheese and beans.
Exactly.
And a tortilla.
Yeah.
Made with care.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moonzom says, I've got some Taco Bell that I'm really depressed every time that they start taking away whatever I order. That's true. Taco Bell seems to have this thing where they do a lot of test market stuff, and then they're like, nah, we're taking away the taco pizza.
That's just fast food. I remember I think the first time I ever discovered heartbreak, the first time I ever experienced heartbreak was when I was in middle school, and I had a Burger King, and I could finally start biking around my neighborhood, and I would bike to this Burger King. And they had this one burger that was a super spicy burger, but it was insane, insanely the best burger they've ever had. And I was like, this is my go-to. I'm gonna get this every time. And I was learning the ways of the world, thinking these menus are static, and then one day I come in and it's gone.
Yep.
And it's never coming back, and I had to live with
The
that.
biggest heartbreak you'll ever know as an adult, walking into your favorite place, like I want that thing I love a lot, and it's gone. And like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's never
okay.
coming back.
Well, I thought we had a good thing going. I just sorry.
I clearly didn't give you enough attention. Like I was,
That's
I'm sorry.
when
Was it me? Was it me? I'm sorry. I could order something else.
that's when I learned
Contact,
what it really means to live in this world. It's just disappointment and heartbreak at every turn.
100%. And I think the only time that it's slightly worse is when you go back to the place and then it's no longer there. Like there was, I went to a restaurant. So this is a ridiculous story, but way back in the day, listening to non-Mexicans gripe about their sad Mexican food. Thank you, everythingologist. There was a bunch of when my wife moved here, I was like, I'm gonna take her to some of my favorite places that I used to go all the time when I was a uni student. And I was like, cool. There's a tiny little hole in the wall Italian restaurant that I like, and there's a dessert place. And it was like the classic date that I would go on, and then I was like, this would be great. And went to the Italian place, closed down. Went to the dessert place, open, but the next time I went back, they were closed down. And like, I was out of the waterfront for my brother's birthday last night, and we were literally just reminiscing because he's turning 29. He's getting close to that, the big 3-0. And we were just reminiscing about like, wow, all the shit that's changed since we were kids that we like used to like and enjoy, like all the restaurants we like to go to and all the places are just like, yeah, just capitalism things. It's like, oh, cool, just gone. Never going to have that again. Not economically viable, etc., etc. But, yeah. Yeah.
Learning how the world works through fast food.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we should probably get into some actual video game chat.
I guess.
Fine.
We do have a community question from our wonderful Patreon, Left for Legacy. At this age, I'd say like our word challenge champion. That man is dedicated. He says, Has there been a game? Okay, yes. Has there been a game that you were looking forward to, but the achievement list completely turned you off? I'll expand this out to say like games that you were like either like super excited for, but also just like looking at it, interested in, and then immediately being like, no, I'm good. Like I'm just gonna. I mean, Shane, obviously, you're very careful with what you put on your list for the most part.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you, Shane.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's just the thing. Like, I also am not super looking forward to games very often. So,
Fair.
When you first mentioned it before we started the podcast, you're like, oh, clearly this crowd. But honestly, not really. Like, if I'm really looking forward to a game, it's rare. And if I'm looking forward to it, I just put on my tag. Like Visions of Mana at the end of last year, Fallout 76 and 4 when they came out.
Yep.
Yeah, I just kind of jump head first and hope that the achievements are all unlockable. So, luckily for me, they tend to be AAA titles that are probably going to get fixed if they're broken. So
That's true.
Yeah, no, actually, I tend to play a game if I really want to play it. Like really. Yes, there are plenty of games that catch my eye, and then I go look at the list like, oh, you know what? No, I can pass on that. But for a game I'm like, primo looking forward to, no, I will play that regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I feel like there's a lot of games that I would do, and then it's not so much I'm looking forward to and the list turns me off. It's more like there's games that I go, oh, I'd do that, and then I see the list is more than I kind of am willing to do for the amount that I want to play the game. So then I'll be like, maybe not, maybe never mind. Maybe I'll go. Maybe I still want to experience this game, but casually, and I'll go play it on a tag I don't care about, or a different platform I don't care about my completion rate on as much. I have a almost like kind of the same that problem that the question poses, but to the point where I will more so start a game and then I'll go look at the list and I'll go, oh fuck, I shouldn't have started this.
Yeah, yep.
Been
there.
Magic Origins was one. ESO was one. Sea of Thieves was one. Those are three games I distinctly remember. Just like, yeah, I'll just play this with like I did a Magic game on 360 and they were pretty easy, so like I don't have to worry too bad. And oh ESO, like I'll just grind it out. It's an MMO. I'm sure it's gonna, I'm sure they'll have. I've done MMOs before, if you count Destiny, I guess. But
Sure.
it's like, yeah, they'll beat all the content, do all the raids, like all that stuff. But oh no, just casually, get number one in the leaderboard on your server. Granted, it resets every month or every 7 days, but it's still just like, ugh, fuck.
Yeah.
And Sea of
My
Thieves.
friend got that number one on the server in ESO. Man, he was so happy.
It's not, dude. I tell this to everyone when it comes up. And I've told this to people I play the game with, or like I play the game a lot with one of the community members, Admiral. We play a little bit together. We both recently got the Master Angler achievement because of an event, which is one of the second rarest achievement in the game, which is just fishing, but it's RNG as hell. And they had an event that made it like I did it from 0 in probably 10 total in-game hours, which it took Admiral starting from 0 to get halfway through in like probably 100+ hours without the event. So it was godsend. But I've talked to several people about this. It's not nearly as difficult as it sounds getting Emperor. The hardest part about getting Emperor is you probably want 2 to 4, ideally 4 buddies who can do it with you to help you like make sure you're healing people and doing other stuff. But then the other part is coordinating the time and setting aside the time, because you have to pick the time, and then you do need a solid 48 to 72 hours you can dedicate purely to that game, with maybe sleeping 6 hours between days. Like other than that, you're just grinding nonstop and like eating enough you're making sure you're eating and stuff to live clearly, but
like in game or real life,
multitasking.
Yeah. So it's not as actually hard as it sounds in terms of like player skill, but the hard part is the real life battle attrition you have to put yourself through to get it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a little sidetrack. That's kind of my answer to the question, is not really looking forward to games. If I'm really looking forward to it, no matter the list, I'll probably play it anyway, because worst case, I don't 100% it. And, there's a lot of games that will never 100% now. Or I'll kind of want to play it, the list will turn me off, or I'll start it, and then I'll look at the list and have regrets set in.
Yeah. I definitely know what that's like. Yeah.
Yeah, how about you, Matt? Do you ever put off a game you look forward to?
I mean, I can't think of like recent examples, because I'm a little bit in that boat where I'm like, I don't get super hyped about stuff until it's in front of me and I can play it, because the hype machine turns endlessly and a lot of it's bullshit. But thinking about it, like I think I've definitely missed out on games that I would have liked to have played because of the lists. And I feel a little bit bad about that, but I also have such a huge backlog of other things that I want to play as well. And like,
that's my thinking.
If something rises to the top, it's usually
there's so much other to play.
Exactly. It's like, and like if I was who I was today and I was looking at like Gears of War 3 for the Seriously 3.0 achievement, I probably wouldn't have played that game. I probably would have gone, you know what, not worth it. And like that is the one achievement I don't have in that game because of that. Just because like the amount of disrespect of hours that you need to be able to do that achievement is just like,
it's a good word for it.
Yeah, it's the thing. It's like, it's just disrespect of my time. And like but there's definitely stuff that I've started that I wish I'd gone like, fuck, if I'd known about it, I probably would have left it. And there are some of them I've gone back to and like gritted out and gone, fuck it, I'm going to do this. Like we're actually going to just like smash our head against this until we get it. And there are some that I just can't, I don't know. Like Ninja Gaiden 2 is a great example of one where I'm just like, that game is so difficult and so frustrating that I don't think I'll ever go back and finish it. And when they done the re-releases of the Ninja Gaiden games, I just haven't played them because I've been like, I'm not putting myself in that situation again.
Not doing that again.
It's just like, I just don't find it enjoyable. And it's not even like, but there's definitely stuff I played earlier on when I was less achievement savvy that I was like, oh, Star Ocean, for example, fuck me, that one that's going to be on my tag forever, and I don't think I'll ever finish it unless I retire and no other games come out for the next 20 years. But yeah, a lot of people have been saying Skull and Bones and like Moon's on, yeah, Sea of Thieves and just kind of I don't know like. I also worry about that. Like, there's that live service piece, right, where it's like games that just you jump on, you're like, oh, cool, this initial list is good, but they just keep adding stuff and it never ends.
And I've been there for sure. Where I mean, Destiny 2 is one that immediately comes to mind. That initial list wasn't bad at all, and then they added the DLC, and it was like, now you have to like you're obligated to dump like another 300 hours into this, and it's like, fuck. I mean, yeah, I've seen plenty of games in the world of live service be fine. I mean, Overwatch was like it had a pain in the ass list, but then it just continued to grow into more of a pain in the ass forever and ever and ever eternally.
Yeah, and I haven't played any. I've never played a second of Overwatch, partly because of that list. I mean, obviously, I'm not a big multiplayer guy, but I still occasionally do multiplayer with the boys, but like. It just hasn't been. I've just been like, you know what? Like, it's just not worth the amount of effort going into some of these achievements and having to deal with this is more than I am interested in playing the game.
Yeah,
No
I have games I lie to myself about and say I'll go back to and finish.
Sure.
Like Monster Hunter World, I still to this day will boot it up from time to time because I'm lying to myself and say, yeah, I'll get the 100% one day.
Yeah, get all those crowns.
I still boot up ESO regularly because we'll get there.
I know.
I don't know. As long as you're
someday they'll stop updating that game.
Well, that's maybe.
Someday my dream, my achievement hunting wet dream is they'll go. We're cutting support for ESO or ESO is 25 years old. Everyone who joins a campaign gets Emperor just for fun, like so you can all mess around with the perk, and then you don't jump in. And
see, that
would kill your.
Yeah.
What's the prestige in that, man? You gotta hate your life to get it. What's the point?
Stubby says I'll get 100% of Balatro one day. Yeah, that's fair. That's another tough one, right? And
that's another game I want to start. I know it's long.
That's actually a perfect example of one that I was like, everyone talks about this game so much, but I just do not have 200 plus hours to put into a card game when I could be playing so many other things.
Well, it's an in-passing game, right? You do some rounds when you're at work on your phone,
Yeah, I mean, I work from home, so it's hard for me. But yes, I know what you mean, though. Yeah, I get what you mean. I also don't leave the house if I can avoid it.
Yeah, right.
Fair enough.
Touch grass? Who? Me? Absolutely not.
Imagine. No, I mean, Shane, the prestige in that makes me think about the recent. I mean, there was the recent console command that took a 300-hour completion to a 30-hour completion. It's like, oof.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, Phoenix Point. Feel bad about those 19 people who 100% it normally.
Yeah, even I'm considering playing it now.
To be fair, if they're doing it right, then they still went. Then they don't even know what happened, and they don't care. They feel good, they got it, and that's all that matters. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
There's an aspect of achievement hunting that's dick measuring with other people, but also dick measuring against yourself. Like I guess it depends on what you get out of it.
Yeah.
What you get out of it.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Like I just feel good that I could finish Cassette Beast days ago. I just wanted to play. Same with what was the other one everyone did? Signalis.
I did that legit too. Great game.
Yeah, I plan to do that one legit. There's definitely a good chunk of games that I'm just like, yeah, I know there's consequences, but I wanted to play this game.
I'll be console commanding that game probably tomorrow. Like I just beat the end boss. I've got most of the monsters. I got other games to get to, man. I'm just gonna console command the rest and then move on.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with if you've had enough of a game to just kind of move on to something else.
It was today where I was trying to get I'll talk about it later, but I was trying to get one of the monsters, and I was just like, you know what? I don't like this anymore. I'm done. This monster's killed me like 5 times now. I can't catch it. I am done now. I'm good. Yeah. So I looked at the console commands immediately, and I'll be doing that tomorrow for sure.
It's funny when you talk about title updates. Like Neverwinter was that thing for me, where I was like, my dream was that like I'm just going to keep up with the updates, and I'm going to keep working on it, and like while I'm playing 50,000 other games, I'm just going to keep coming back to this MMO that never ends, and I'm just going to keep up with the updates and just keep doing the thing. And I just fell further and further and further behind because I just didn't have the time to invest. And because they would release the updates with 2 achievements. One of them would be do like the weekly, come back, do the daily challenges for like 8 weeks or whatever, and then do the dungeon. And like I would do the weekly challenge because that was just kind of time. And then you get to the dungeon. I was like, oh, my item level isn't enough because I haven't been doing the other shit to get my weapons up to get into a party. No one wants me in the group. And then it was like, and then every expansion that come out, or every update that would come out would be a higher item level requirement for the thing. And eventually, I was just like, I have to give it up. I just can't.
Yeah,
So,
like freaking. Obviously, it's not hard, but Human Fall Flat, man. If they could just stop supporting that game, please. The sequel's coming out. Work on that. Stop it.
Yeah. Anytime I see new Human Fall Flat DLC, I'm just like, yeah, please
Hate that
stop.
game.
I like that
I
game.
legit
though,
do
but
not
I'm with
enjoy
you.
that game anymore.
Yeah, I've had enough of it. But thank you for the question, Legacy. That's a really good one. I'm going to be thinking about it probably a bit more actually, because there is definitely stuff on my even on my backlog where I'm like, I look at the lists really carefully now because I bought it. I still have like 150 games that I bought that I haven't started, and I'm always like weighing it up. Like, do I want to start this? Is this something I want to commit to, or is it something I can just go, you know what? I'm never going to play this. I'm actually just going to hide it and just be like, stop lying to myself about the backlog. But we'll see.
See.
All right. We've got a fair amount of news this week. First one here is Embracer Group, everyone's favorite overcommitting business, is still going through some changes with all their layoffs and other bits and pieces that happened after the Saudi deal fell through. They've decided that they're going to be splitting up their business. So they now have the Lord of the Rings acquisition group, which is all kind of that stuff they did there, is now being rebranded as Fellowship Entertainment. And then also has a bunch of stuff around like Kingdom Come Deliverance and Tomb Raider. So again, like some of the like higher generating, like more popular properties. And then this sort of smaller stuff that they're doing a Coffee Stain Studios spin-off for their sort of, I don't know, that's as like an indie label, I guess, is the kind of the way they're doing it. They basically split their business into two between AAA and indie. This was also, they had also already split into three. So they're kind of rebranding. I really don't know what this means for Embracer other than they're trying to move debt around and maybe just kind of show where their focus is going to be. I mean, like Fellowship Entertainment now has A4 games, so that's Metro. Aspire Media, which I think was... What does Aspire do? Are they the ones who did... I'm trying to think. Is that...
That name sounds familiar.
No, that's Focus. I'm trying to remember who it was who did... no, that's Asobo. God damn, there's so many goddamn studios. Aspire Media, Crazy Labs, Crystal Dynamics, Dam Busters, Dark Horse, Deca Games, Eidos Montreal, Flying Wild Hog, Gunfire Games, so that's Darksiders, Limited Run Games, Middle-earth Enterprises, Milestone, Paleon, THQ Nordic, Tripwire Interactive, Vertigo Games, War Studios, and a bunch of others.
Everyone knew this was going to be a bad idea, man.
Yeah.
We all saw this coming.
Yeah.
At the very least, closing, but downsizing, same thing. Splitting up, whatever. Like what they did didn't work, and we all knew that was not going to work.
Yeah.
They were, I don't know, man. Their eyes were too big for their stomach or something. But
I guess so. I mean, I'm just like, I can't think of. Obviously, that's a huge number. Like, I guess Embracer started because they were acquiring basically every AA studio in the market that the AAAs weren't interested anymore, had kind of ejected them or sold them off. And they were just kind of making this kind of AA powerhouse studio to kind of just have all this IP lying around. And I don't know, I really don't know what the future is for them. I mean, obviously the fact that they're calling it Fellowship Entertainment basically was like Middle-earth and Friends originally. So Fellowship Entertainment is like, okay, yeah, Lord of the Rings is their big focus because that's obviously what they spend a lot of money on. But I don't know, like,
and the main thing to point out is all this splitting up. These are also handling all the alternative media for these properties too. So they're doing like movies and cards and comics, and I'm sure they've got a lot on their plate. Can't wait to see the Goat Simulator movie coming out. I'm sure.
Yeah. Yes, this sort of Coffee Stains thing is supposed to be like kind of live service, community-driven, free-to-play sort of indie stuff, which, again, it works for Devolver, I guess, but I'm like very curious to see, like, is this going to be a competitor to that? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Nah. I mean, as always, I hope the studios, I wish the studios the best. I hope they don't lose their jobs. I hope this helps them fulfill their artistic needs and get some good games out at least. But
supposedly they've got quite a few games like on the books planned to go for financial year or so. But how many of those actually come to fruition and kind of what happens in that space, I guess we'll see. But
yeah, the economy's weird right now.
yeah, not a great time to be in the games development business, it seems.
Nope.
Has it ever? Has it ever been?
That's
really.
I don't know. I read the guy who founded Atari's his biography. That sounded like that was a good fucking time. That's for sure. You know, the sort of
I bet, dude.
Yeah.
I bet the
a lot of drugs and a lot of hot tubs apparently.
I was just gonna say, I bet the Atari office parties were pretty crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
Back in the 70s.
Fucking struck gold. Yeah. All right. Next story here we got is that apparently Roman Reigns, which again, if you don't know, is a infamous WWE wrestler, we'll say, and Jason Momoa have apparently been tapped for the new Street Fighter movie that Capcom is going to be co-producing.
Here we go again.
I mean, again, we love to talk about video game movies on this podcast because we have a whole spin-off for them. But can either of those people? No, okay. Jason Momoa is okay, but like, can Roman Reigns act? I don't like. Who is he going to be playing? I don't know. Are you guys excited about a Street Fighter movie? I mean, you guys. I'm assuming you guys have seen the '90s original classic.
The 90s original is amazing just because of Raul Julia. Like,
yeah, exactly. The man is a consummate professional.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, Kylie Minogue, fantastic.
American Colonel can't speak a word of English.
Stories is
the only 90s video game movie I've seen is Mario, to be honest.
Yikes. I mean,
Street Fighter is a fun time just because it's such a hot piece of garbage.
Well, yeah, it is.
So is the Mario movie.
The Mario movie is
also a hot piece of garbage.
The Mario movie is like a fucking Blade Runner spin-off, like with how that city works.
Yeah,
and
it's
shit. It's
so
insane.
weird.
I love the Mario movie. It's insane.
Yeah,
my favorite.
It is a real fucking fever dream of a movie for sure.
But yeah, as always, I need to see a trailer. Roman Reigns, Jason Momoa, cool. I mean, as long as if it's good, it's good. So I would be down for it if they take it not seriously. Like, respect the source material, but don't take yourself too seriously, please. We don't need another Chun-Li movie. That was...
Oh, shit, I completely forgot about that one. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, that's the most recent Street Fighter movie.
Christ.
Like, it was
bad.
I
completely forgot about that, yeah.
What if it's gritty, though, guys, and looks like it made in the CW? Woof.
Yeah. I mean, Jason Momoa, apparently, is this his new thing? Like, he was obviously in the Minecraft movie, which we talked about on Lights, Camera, Action.
You know how producers are, man. They saw Jason Momoa, video game movie money, and that's all they need to know. So.
And he was like, "Yeah, I'll do video game movies," and they're like, "Great, have we got a movie for you?"
How much are you paying me? Oh, yeah, sure. No, I'll do I'll do the Fighter Street thing. Sure, cool.
I'm sorry. Like Minecraft made $1.3 billion. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll make video game movies. 100%. Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
The movie I was 69 with Jack Black in. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I mean, good money, good time.
I'm very curious who they get
again
to direct it. I mean, is Paul W.S. Anderson still doing stuff? I mean,
oh God, please no. Oh,
come on.
Then that means what's her face will be Chun-Li or something, and it'll be like, oh, cool.
Mila
His wife's in it again.
Yeah, it's just Chun-Li. Oh God. Because I guess because he did the Resident Evil movies or some of them. I think he did like the first 4.
All of them.
And then. Pretty sure he did Monster Hunter, right? I think that was his.
Yeah, he did because she was in it. That's how you know.
That's how. Yeah, if Mila Jovovich is in it, then Paul W. Anderson's probably not far behind. I'm very curious.
Fun fact: he actually did the first Mortal Kombat as well, and the reason he did every single Resident Evil movie is because he didn't like how that Mortal Kombat franchise went. So he's like, "Oh, well, I'm in it for the long game, then, man. I'm gonna make sure these are all gold from here on out."
That's
great. Cool. Thanks, man.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I like the Mortal Kombat movie. Like, it's fine.
The newest one?
The newest one was okay. Like, it was fine. Like, I mean, like, obviously, Mortal Kombat Annihilation was horrific. Oof. And the original Mortal Kombat movie back in the 90s was good. But
yeah, it's just like Street Fighter, where it's just, yeah, this is happening, man. I'm down for it. I'm okay.
That's right.
Change the channel. Best line.
Oh man, that's so many. Dude, you lost your balls. Yeah,
I feel like that's how I feel about most 90s and early 2000s video game movies, like Doom, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, just all of those are just ridiculous.
Yeah, with a disregard for their source material in a way that's sometimes endearing and sometimes horrific.
Yeah.
Like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat tried. Like,
yeah,
a lot more than, say, the Mario movie or the Double Dragon movie or...
Double Dragon movie was rough. Yeah.
It's rough. When are we doing the lights, camera, and action on that one?
Yeah, we definitely need to do that at some stage. I'm looking through his list of stuff. It's like, yeah, Resident Evil movies. He did Alien vs Predator, which I completely forgot about.
Oh, jeez, really?
And he did the 2008 Death Race, which actually I thought was okay. Jason Statham, Three Musketeers.
I think the Liu Kang actor was in that, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's right, he was. Yeah, 40K, I think it was called or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I mean, to be fair, he did do Event Horizon, which I love as a movie. So, like, that's that's probably the watermark there. But he was a producer on the Dead or Alive movie. God, there's so much trash we need to watch for Lights, Camera, and Action. But yeah, I guess like you said, I think Shane,
endless content.
Endless content. I think you're right. Yeah, we definitely want to see a trailer. Who knows when this is going to be happening, if it even happens. We'll see. I mean,
I'm sure Capcom and probably Square Enix. I'm sure at some point maybe like they're all seeing the Sonic, Sega, and Mario, Nintendo money, and they're like, we gotta maybe look into getting back into this again.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Raccoon City did very well. I've never seen that one actually.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
And I heard some buzz about the Netflix show, but I didn't hear that was super great either.
I think it had an okay start and then kind of fell off a cliff quite quickly. I think that apparently they are going to take yet another stab at.
They are.
And the rumor was that apparently Anthony Starr is he's trying to get the Wesker role, the guy who plays Homelander.
Oh my God,
Boys.
He would be great for that. To be fair, man.
Yeah,
he'd be perfect.
He's a Kiwi too, which is funny. Always funny to me when you see him like behind the scenes stuff. No one expects the Kiwi accent coming out of his mouth. I remember back in the day when he was in like New Zealand TV shows and shit, where he played twins, so he got paid twice because he played two different characters. All right.
Now look at him. He's the pinnacle of American exceptionalism. Fantastic. Great. Cool. Love how that's going.
Yeah. Right. All right. Liza P. Everyone's favorite. Hey, is this game Bloodborne? Is as we know getting a DLC. It's going to be a sort of time traveling prequel to before all the shit went down with the puppets. Still coming out. They've also said that there's some footage out there. You should definitely go check it out. It looks really, really good. They've added a lot of cool new stuff. I'm really excited to play it. Curious if it'll have achievements. But they've also going to add difficulty settings, which is a bit unusual for a sort of Soulsborne game. You don't usually have that in there. And it's going to be not just for the expansion, but for the base game as well. So you've now got like a harder difficulty and also an easier one. So the current difficulty is kind of sitting in the middle.
Interesting.
Yeah, curious to get your thoughts. You guys played Liza P?
On the list.
I tested it a little bit when it launched. I was like, this is a Pinocchio Dark Souls game. Well, I gotta at least try this. And it is definitely a game I do want to play. Yeah. So knowing there's an easier difficulty, I heard it wasn't even that bad to begin with. So
for the most part, there's definitely some. I mean, again, it's a Soulsborne game, so there's absolutely some parts where you're like, this wasn't designed for a human to finish. But for the most part, yeah, it is definitely one of the easier games for sure. I finished it, so that will give you an idea of kind of where that sits. Kia also finished it. So
you finished most of them though, right?
I do.
Dark Souls 1 through 3.
100%. Yeah, for sure. I do like the Souls games quite a bit. Although the Bloodborne side of stuff, there's definitely a lot more of the parrying, kind of almost Sekiro level, some of the stuff towards the end in terms of like timing and actually getting good with some of the final bosses, especially on your second playthrough, are insane.
Mm-hmm. I got to the first boss in Liza P on my other account. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I like this. I'll get to it someday. So,
there is also a sequel in the works, which again, the game ends on a real cliffhanger moment. I won't spoil anything, obviously, but it definitely lands on it like, oh, cool, we're going to do some more. Like, there's definitely going to be some more game here. But apparently, this is kind of
the studio. Mm-hmm. Like this is their first game, right? I think they did like a mobile title or something like that beforehand.
But this is their first like big game for sure. Yeah, their first like
and so I mean, knocking it out of the park. Good for them.
Yeah, I did mention last time that they announced the release date for this and kind of talked about how it's coming out. Like, it does feel like it's been a long time though. Like I remember Lies of P pretty well, but even then, it's still a little bit like I'm gonna have to pull some files out of the archive to try and remember exactly how that game went in terms of story and stuff. Because I think it was when did Lies of P come out? Like 2000.
23, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's been. I'm gonna check that out actually because.
Or was it 22?
Might have been 22.
I think 23.
Yeah. Lies.
My brain says 23.
You'd be correct. Yes, September 23. So it's been a couple of years. I kind of would have expected a DLC to be out like by now, or maybe a year earlier. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just time's weird, but yeah.
I mean, when you're a smaller team too, how long did it take us to get the Cuphead DLC, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah. I'm very curious to see what the feedback is for this new difficulty stuff, because I obviously know some people get really up in arms about adding difficulty settings to the Souls games.
Souls players can be a little gatekeepy about that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully that them adding a harder difficulty appeases them.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
They won't. Absolutely not.
I am curious to see how much easier and how much more difficult it is, and where those sliders go. And someone will do a breakdown, obviously, of kind of how that works. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna. I'll probably give easy mode a go because I prefer more casual experiences as opposed to getting my ass handed to me for 3 hours when I'm trying to get through one boss fight. But we'll see how it goes. They're also adding.
Well, let's face it. If you were really gonna play it, you'd be a real fan and play it anyway. It doesn't matter.
That's true. This is true. Yeah.
Yeah. That never stops you from doing anything with your favorite games.
And apparently they're going to be adding some battle memory stuff and a few other quality of life features, so you can go back and refight old boss fights and that kind of stuff. Things that you've seen in things like Sekiro and other stuff like that, which is, I think, a really good idea. All right, this was a big one. Randy Pitchford, everyone's favorite man suffering from foot-in-mouth disease, because the man just does not know how to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no kidding.
If you haven't seen recently, he basically he got a question on Twitter around how basically saying oh hey, can you you probably don't have, I don't know how much say you have in this, but what are you going to make sure that the game isn't $80 because that's way too expensive. And he comes out and basically says, first of all, not my decision to make, which is fair because he's the game's been published by 2K, it's there's a thing that goes on there.
I'm sure a strongly worded email from Randy Pitchford would have some sway, though.
Some
so,
maybe,
he needs to
but still,
back it a little bit.
They got money, right? But then he also basically went down. He basically doubled down and then said, "But also, if you're a real fan, then you'll make it work. Games used to be expensive back in the '90s, but I worked a bunch of jobs and I paid for the games. So if you're a real fan, you'll pay $80 for the game. So the game's going to be $80 probably at this rate. Surprisingly, people not that thrilled about this. I don't think. Well, just what couldn't have called that, but yeah. If you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 back in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen.
How about tone deaf?
Yeah, considering the economic times that we live in.
This economy, huh?
Yeah. It doesn't, especially if you're someone working on that game and you're like, man, I'm really excited. Borderlands is such a cool series and I'm going to make Borderlands 4. And then Randy Pitchford just is like, hey, fuck you. I don't know. We would. Yeah, just...
See, here's the thing. Hot take. I agree with him.
Okay.
But that's because I feel he's speaking as a hobbyist and not as a CEO.
He's a hobby grade. Yep.
I'm sure many of us, when we were younger, didn't have lots of obligations and such. Would absolutely just, it's $80. I want to play more Borderlands. I'll bet it. But you're a CEO, bro. Shut up. That's tone deaf. A lot of us are adults now. Adults are listening to you, not kids. We have bills and stuff. You can't say that kind of thing anymore. You're not a hobbyist. You are a CEO of a big company. Shut up.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine his PR team are just like shooting themselves in the foot right now. They're just like,
Right.
like how? Yeah,
Can't you just do another card trick, man? Just get out there and do
exactly.
a card
Just
trick.
go back to doing your fucking magic. I don't know.
Everyone still talks about that. Great PR.
Jake, what about you? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I mean, I just same. Echo your guys' sentiments. Like, it's incredibly tone deaf, especially just like from the position he's in. I can see where maybe what Shane is saying could be true, where he's not trying to come across like a CEO, but you can't ever not come across like a CEO when you are a CEO. That's just, you never, there's something to be said. There is truly something to be said about the game price hikes. And he has a valid point about games really did used to be more expensive in the 90s. Like, some games would drop it was the Wild West. No one ever talks about it. Well, I think people talking about it more and more as the prices go up. But I think people got used to $50 and then $60 games, and 70 was even pushing it, but people were okay with it too. I mean, a game would be $40 in 95, and then another game would come out for $100 in 95.
Yeah.
So adjusted for inflation. So it's like, I get the point he's trying to make. But yeah, given like just the current economic standing where prices are increasing, no one really seems to be economically thriving right now. So it doesn't make a lot of so people are seeing things go up and they're not seeing themselves prosper any more than they were 10 years ago, and that's just incredibly disheartening, obviously. So it's a harder conversation to have, where it's like, yeah, games were more expensive and crazy all over the place in the 90s. Yeah, they were, but people also felt more financially secure, I feel like. Better. I mean, yeah. So in the given context of the time we're in, it's an incredibly out of touch statement to make, for sure.
Now, to be fair, he has gone back and there's been some back and forth around him clarifying something.
Oh, I bet he did.
Fair enough, right? I'm sure he got a call from a few people telling him to get his shit together. But he kind of brings up the stuff around budgets are increasing. There's tariffs at the moment, and that Borderlands 4 apparently has twice the development budget, more than twice the development budget of Borderlands 3, and just the cost.
I'm so curious where that money's going.
Right? I mean,
that's insane statement to make. I'm not gonna lie.
That's the crazy thing about because that's the other thing too, where people justify the increase of prices in games. They go, "Oh, games are getting more expensive to make," and I'm just kind of like, why? I get why are they getting more expensive to make? Years
to make now?
Well, but it's just it makes me feel like, they take years to make, and they're not being incredibly impressive. So it's just like, are you overplaying your hand? Is that why they costing more to make? Are you scope creeping too much? Are you trying to push boundaries that don't need to be put? No one's asking you to push. Did people ask you to make a $400 million game, or we're playing games that cost $10 million to make because they're fantastic games and they're speaking to us more than the $400 million game. So it's like,
I'm really getting game development, baby.
I'm kind of getting tired. I'm growing tired of the games are getting more expensive to make conversation, because it's no one's asking them to be, right? I feel like the consensus largely by gamers at this point is no one's asking you to make the highest budget game that was ever made, because they're coming out and they're terrible.
Yeah, or even if they're not terrible, they're not that much better than
terrible. They're not terrible. That is. I shouldn't say terrible, because they're not terrible, but they're mid.
Yeah,
they're uninspiring. You can tell, you can feel the agile quarterly planning in each piece of the game. Mm-hmm. So everyone's like, games are more expensive to make. I'm just like, then dial back, man. Why? Why are they more expensive to make? It's not working.
I can tell you why. Money.
Yeah.
How much
Well-
did Prince of Persia, the newest one, which by all accounts might as well be an indie game that got rave reviews, make compared to what Star Wars or Call of Duty or
Call of
anything
Duty.
else really Ubisoft probably put out this year? I mean, or that year. Like that's why. It's Balatro is one of the few examples that probably costs almost nothing to make comparatively, but is doing amazingly. But these corporations are only going to care about how much money they can make, and sadly, the big flashy titles are the ones that sell. I am very curious how much attention the actual decision makers are paying attention to things like Steam, the indie scene and stuff like that. Because you're right, we're just seeing them get bigger and bigger when they could probably invest in like a really tiny developer to make some bomb addictive tiny little indie game and just flow in the money. But I guess it's not a Fortnite, it won't make they're all chasing another Fortnite
revenue,
or another Call of Duty or yes. Like, and I feel like most gamers, which is very different from hobbyists like us that are in the weeds and everything, they do just want to play the next shiny Doom or the next shiny Call of Duty or the next whatever. Well, actually, never mind. We talked a couple weeks ago where they're all playing one game a year now. So maybe they're just trying to. I don't know. I think we're still in this weird adjustment period where everything's gonna have to change, like globally, but game wise, we're in this weird middle period where they're still making the more and more expensive AAA titles, but they're not making their money because everyone's still playing Fortnite. And everyone's still playing Rainbow Six Siege, and everyone's still playing Call of Duty Warzone. And I don't think these people are being as flexible and fast reacting as they need to be with this new industry. And people like Embracer are trying to jump on board the ship while the pandemic's happening. They see just video games equal money, and they buy it all up. And now they're learning real quick that that's not how this works at all, especially now. So I don't know.
A couple of things I want to bring up. So, Skill Up and FPS Podcast, another show that I watch, brought up a really interesting point of looking at like the top 10 games like the top 10 rated games this year and like the top 20. And he said of like big AAA games, it was like maybe 2 or 3 of them are in that list out of like the top 20 of games. It's just like the shift of what is like quality. Again, like there is also that point of like there are people who just obviously we're hobbyists, we're deep into the system, and obviously we care about this kind of score stuff. But the idea being that you don't necessarily need a huge team, and everything ologist in chat says, like with any project, biggest expense is the people working on it, obviously salaries, right? And if the game development goes on for another year, that's another year worth of salaries you got to pay for. Do you think games have too big of a team? I mean, yeah, I think that what we're seeing is that like you're getting things like Local Thunk making this game on his own for the most part, and like just it going huge. And like obviously that's not going to 99% of the time that's not going to happen. But there is a hunger out there for really good quality games that don't need to be made by hundreds and hundreds of people. And on the other end of it, you have Ubisoft, who are the like probably the top example of like a large studios, large games, homogenized game design, live services, microtransactions, just kind of everything wrong with this industry, and just churning out things, and they're just not hitting anymore. Because there's another video I watched by Alana Pierce, who was talking about basically some research that she did into like what is taking up people's time in terms of like why people are playing less video games, and like after the pandemic as things have kind of slowed down. And they're still going up. Arrow is still going up and to the right, just not as fast as they were hoping it was. And it's because people are just spending more time on things like TikTok and other social media tools. Like it's like you're not competing against video games. You're competing against every other bit of entertainment in someone's life. And if your game suddenly costs $80 for your next big shiny game, like I think it's going to be a hard sell for some people. Like the video game industry is very elastic in terms of like cost goes up, like demand will go down, and you basically end up spending more on marketing to get in front of people to just there's that interruption, like trying to get in for people's faces to break their stream of consciousness to go, okay, cool. here's Borderlands 4. We just spent $200 million making sure that you fucking see this thing everywhere, so that even when you're scrolling on TikTok, this game is coming out and reminding you about how you can shoot a guy in the face, called Shooty McFace Shooty. Like,
You know what makes me sad about the whole Borderlands thing is watching the trailers for that and knowing that apparently it's double the cost of Borderlands 3, but it's lost its soul. It looks just like any other shooter now. The cell shading that was such a big selling point in the beginning is practically non-existent in the new one. So it's just another shooter, and at this point, Borderlands is, I don't know, if it's mainstream enough where it's almost like going to be a parody of itself at this point. If they come out without anything to really set itself apart from the first and second games, and third, I guess, to an extent. But I don't know.
I wonder how much
kind of shame.
This is going to be a baseless kind of slam on Gearbox. I'm very curious how much the team has changed since the original game. Just judging based off of
Been a lot.
the movie. Well, I was going to say maybe the other route. Maybe it hasn't changed enough, and it's too many developers stuck making games for 2009.
Sure. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Well, that's the whole industry. Again,
to be fair, that's Randy Pitchford, right? Like, he has been there since the start. He has been a driving force, and he is like, he's a poster child for basically being stuck in the early 2000s. Like, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Again, I don't have any basis to say on that, but it's like
fine.
you just look at not Battlefield. You go to Borderlands 3, and that wasn't super well received. Didn't seem like it was hated, but it wasn't super well received. But then I do remember specifically a comment people got or said about Borderlands 3 was, the jokes are like, they're dated, they're not funny anymore. Like,
yeah,
they haven't really changed since the first game. And then Borderlands the movie came out, and now we all saw that and the dialogue in that.
Yeah.
And then now
no one that involved in the game had anything to do with that movie. I bet that was so hands off.
Maybe Randy
Pitchford was involved.
Yeah,
but that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Besides Randy, but his judgment's sketchy.
So I don't know. It's just it's time and time again, or every time I hear about Borderlands or see Borderlands, I'm like, man, this game is stuck in 2009, or whenever the first one came out. I think it was 2009. And so it was like, man, have they gotten any new, fresh ideas in the studio since 2009? Or like, is it the same old guard still just writing that 2000s script?
I mean, like, Borderlands 2, I think was kind of, obviously that was the high point for the series. They kind of took everything that worked in the first game, expanded it out, added some more narrative around it, and kind of, had like a really great character of Handsome Jack. I saw a Twitter post that someone was like, "Man, how did Gearbox come up with such a like crazy capitalist monster of a character like Handsome Jack?" And then just posting the Randy Pitchford quote right underneath it.
What?
Yeah, exactly right. Like, I think that, and they've kind of been chasing that high ever since, right? Like, pre-sequel wasn't super well received. I know that was a different team because it was the Australian team, but. And then Borderlands 3, people liked the environment for stuff, like the kind of variety, but the storytelling was absolute garbage, and no one liked the streamer kind of thing. Because, again, it felt like it was like from like it felt like a 2012, 2013 kind of, rate, review, and subscribe, like Twitch streamer thing. It was bad. And, like, I'm interested in 4 to the extent that I want to play it with my buddies, and we'll probably have a good time playing through it, right? I'm sure it'll be a fine video game, but I'm probably not going to buy day one at full price, especially even if it wasn't $80. That series has always been like, yeah, I'll wait for a sale. Like, why? Like, nothing about this it screams AAA must-buy game of the year material, right? Especially when you got things coming out this year that are AAA material that are like on Game Pass or like
never.
Yeah.
I haven't. I don't know the last year I was genuinely super excited about all the any release coming out. 24, 23. Like, there were games I want to play.
Sure.
That I still haven't got to, but this year I'm just like, I don't know what to choose. I finished Yakuza and I'm like, I want to play a game from this year. I don't know what to play because I want to play all of them.
Yeah. This year's shaping up to be a real banger already.
I was really curious because one of the main writers of Borderlands 2 is Anthony Birch. I don't know if you guys know of him.
Yes, I do. I do from his old podcast.
I don't think he's on. I was looking. I think he was involved in the pre-sequel, but from everything I'm reading, I don't think he's there anymore.
No,
he
went to he went to Santa Monica Studios. Actually, he wrote. He was writing on God of War, Ragnarok, I think.
Oh,
he's one of the.
So yeah, so maybe that's why. Because I know he was involved with all the Borderlands 2, the DLC, and pre-sequel. So.
Yep. Yeah, I guess the other route is the key writer left, and they're trying to figure out what the Borderlands magic sauce was, and they're just trying to mimic it too. It's kind of like, God, what was it? There was a piece of media. I don't remember if it was a movie or game, but it's like it was a totally different team that got the reins, and they tried to honor. It was like all I could think of was the Invincibles. I think that's the animated superhero show.
Mm-hmm.
Where the
Invincible.
Yeah, with the meme panel of like, well, look what they need to mimic a fraction of our
yeah,
power.
sure, yeah, right,
like,
yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but it was just like you could tell. It's like, man, they're trying to they're really trying. Oh, Back for Blood. That's what Back for Blood felt like. Yes,
right. Okay, so we say
was like they're like, we're gonna do
a Left 4 Dead because Valve ain't doing one. We're gonna bring the team together.
And I'm pretty sure that was literally the company that had made Left 4 Dead originally.
Turtle Rock Studios.
And they got the bones, and they somehow missed everything that made Left 4 Dead Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah. Everything ologist also says, The Simpsons also is a great example. But to be fair, that show has been running for so long that most of the people who are watching it now probably weren't even born when it started. So that's maybe slightly,
it's an institution.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I 100% get what you're saying. Like, we've had this discussion many times, right? Around like BioWare is the classic example of studio and name only, and all the original, like people who kind of made that the thing when Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 came out. Like they're not there anymore, and like it's maybe not fair to expect them to be there anymore. Obviously, people move on with their life. It's still a job, right? But you just get to these things where
I think the only studios we could probably say, but like, oh yeah, same studios, like what, Nintendo? I think they hire for life, right? I mean,
just about, a lot
pretty
of
much. Same with a lot of Japanese developers, I think.
Yeah,
where I'm sure a lot of those teams are pretty static overall.
Yeah, well, because I mean, when Kojima split from Konami, that was a huge.
Yeah, Konami just went under.
That never happens. Yeah, it doesn't happen.
And then that one guy who left, did he make Cloudbreaker Studio? It was the Final Fantasy guy. One of them left and made their own team. He had a game coming out for a while. I think that vanished.
Well, there was the one guy who split up, who made Mistwalker, who did Lost Odyssey.
Mistwalker, that's it.
Yeah, Lost Odyssey. Which obviously, and then they were working on something else, which didn't end up happening.
Mistwalker, Cloudbreaker, same thing.
Yeah. I get. Like, I think that like Japan definitely has more of that. Like a bit. We talked about this a few weeks ago, but like the kind of like auteur, like who are the people within the games industry that kind of like really jump out at you. And like I think Japan has definitely a stronger because it's a smaller industry in terms of like everyone knows everyone really, because it's like Japan's not a huge place as opposed to like the entire Western development world. That you kind of have more of this like heads of people who stay with companies for a long time, and like Kojima obviously is the obvious example, but you get people like even like Ifune back in like the Mega Man days and all that kind of stuff, like, and then and like Square Enix is filled with them, and then you get people like Sakurai, and Nintendo is another great example. Sakurai for like Smash Brothers and Kirby and all that kind of stuff.
Nomura comes to mind all the time.
Nomura, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, name a Western developer. Like a actual developer, not like a studio.
I was just gonna say Jade.
They're all probably older and retired now, right? Or they're heading to
exactly.
studios.
There's definitely like an element of like a lot of those that old guard have
Ed Boon
moved on. Ed Boon, yeah, exactly. Like I mean, Ed Boon's technically still around, right? But like
the Doom guy,
Carmack, and Romero, yeah.
Will Wright,
yeah.
See, they're all. Are they making? I don't think any of those are making games anymore.
But then you get
they're either like figureheads or.
Yeah, they kind of moved on to make their own studios or kind of do their own thing, or they kind of moved out of game development because it's not like AAA game development isn't lucrative to do that kind of, or not even lucrative, but even possible at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs help. God damn it!
You do it.
Yep. No,
Come on.
Right.
No.
But yeah, I definitely get what you mean, and like I do want to play Borderlands, and like I had a really good time playing through 3, both basically just ignoring the cutscenes and just kind of having a good time. Like it was a co-op, but most games in co-op are fun, and I just don't think that in today's society that like and like if you read through this article, like Randy's kind of response back to like people being upset about it, like I get where he's coming from, in that like the game's price has not been decided yet. He's like, we haven't decided on that yet. It might be 80, it might be 70.
It's gonna be 80.
It'll be 80. Like it'll be 80, right? Of course
It'll be 80.
But like I think that he just has that thing where he's just like he'll just say kind of the kind of stuff that he'll just say, and I have my problems with Randy Pitchford, but I don't know. I just think it's interesting that even as he's like a hobbyist as opposed to a CEO, he thought that there was a thing that would go down well, or that it wouldn't be taken badly, or maybe he did think it would be taken badly.
He's just chatting with us, man. He's just just shooting the breeze.
Yeah,
just being a bud. Yeah. Nope, sorry, buddy.
But like,
no, you don't get that anymore.
Like realistically, I just don't think I'm going to make it happen. I'll wait for it to come to Game Pass. I'll wait for it to go on a big sale with all the DLC.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's the only way to make it. If you're listening to this, and we know we have a massive audience, millions, I think was the last time I checked.
Yeah.
If you want to make a difference, man, you gotta use your wallet.
Yeah.
If you're like $80, that's way too expensive. Then don't buy it. I guarantee that game's still gonna sell. If freaking Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out at $100, it's still gonna sell. Like all these people are complaining about it. You have to not pay for it.
Yeah.
Like, that one hurts me because there's people it feels like there's almost people asking for GTA 6 to be $100. There was like before $80 was even in people's minds for what games should be worth, like in developers, like before that was announced, people were like, "Oh, dude, I'd pay $100 for GTA 6." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up!"
They heard that. They all heard that.
Oh yeah. Well, again,
they wet their jeans and they're like, "We're doing that." Absolutely, yeah. They asked for it.
I mean, that's
$100. Oh my god,
that's $2K again, right? Like that's Take-Two. That's that's the parent company for Borderlands as well. Like so, that's like of course they're gonna do that. And obviously GTA, we talked about it last week. It will be the biggest fucking media explosion of all time when it comes out. And it'll sell no matter what. Whether they charge $200 for it, they don't give a fuck. Like people will buy it because they just have to.
Which on the other side of that, if it's a good game, it's as much of a leap as 5 was from 4. Good for them. Good for those developers, man. Like, I hope they get all the praise and the money, and I know they're not gonna get the money, sadly. 2K's gonna get that, but yeah, I mean, if it's worth $100, then it's worth $100. It's just a sad thing to see because we're gonna get so many games like Borderlands 4 that is definitely probably not worth $80, but that's gonna be the price point now, man.
Yeah,
it's the market.
Something that is doing well though, Doom: The Dark Ages, which I talked a little bit about last week, and I'll talk a bit more about in a bit, has apparently been the biggest launch for id Software ever. Which I guess is interesting. I mean, obviously had a lot of hype behind it. People have been really enjoying this new Doom trilogy. But apparently it reached 3 million players 7 times faster than Doom Eternal did. So, I mean, and like Doom 2016, nice. I think was incredible. And like I have mixed feelings about Eternal. But great to see that it's doing well. I would highly recommend everyone give it a go. It's really, really accessible. It basically hit 3 million in like 10 days. Which, I mean, obviously it's on Game Pass too, which is obviously a little bit of a different thing. You don't have to sell all the units yourself. But apparently it's doing well on other platforms as well. Steam, although apparently the Steam count are actually a little bit lower, but I think a lot of people are playing this on Game Pass if they can.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you guys interested in Doom? I don't know. You guys have any history with the franchise or 2016?
Doom 2016, I adored. I got addicted to the multiplayer, and didn't boost a single time.
Wow.
Like I know a lot of people boosted to get to the Prestige. I maxed Prestige that game just like by playing it for fun because I really enjoyed it. Eternal, I have the multiplayer done. I need to go and do the single player. I'd like to do that before Dark Ages, but I absolutely Dark Ages is in my sights of interest for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to talk about not playing games for achievements, that's the reason I never did first Doom, because I saw the multiplayer. I'm like, maybe someday. I'm not super into it. And then Eternal came out, it looked cool, and then Dark Age looks really fun. So maybe someday on Game Pass. So
True, and it's not going anywhere. Yeah.
oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Oh, that's actually true. No, then I'll never get to it. Never mind.
You'll never be leaving. Yeah, true. Yeah, because I made myself go through and finish Eternal before Dark Ages came out because I was like, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to get to it. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I'll talk a little bit more about it in a bit. Cyberpunk 2077's sequel, which again, I don't know what they're going to call it yet, but we'll keep an eye out. They've been talking about
2078.
7078. I guess so. Maybe. I guess it depends on how far.
No, they can't call it that because that'll be after the time it comes out or before the time it comes out. So
that's true.
They'll have to like name it something in the future. Actually.
Yeah, true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, jokes.
Cyberpunk 8089. So they've been showing off or talking about some of the new stuff. Obviously, trying to get some hype building. Still got a little while to go, but apparently, Night City is going to be in the original. Like they're going to keep Night City as a playable environment, but they're going to kind of make it decrepit. Which I was like, it's Cyberpunk. It kind of already was decrepit, but apparently, there's just a bunch of shit going on there that they've kind of made it turn it into like a wasteland. And then they're also going to have like a new city included called basically the idea being it's like Chicago gone wrong, quote unquote. So this was kind of some reveals from Mike Pondsmith, who it's called Project Orion. Is kind of they've basically said that it's going to be Cyberpunk 2. But he's not actually involved in the game, but he's keeping progress on it because obviously he's still part of CD Projekt Red, and it's being headed up by the new North American arm as opposed to their Polish studio. But looks really, really interesting. I'm excited. The idea being that like it's not just Blade Runner, like they kind of actually want to go in their own kind of direction and do their own kind of thing. I'm very curious to see where they go with it. Obviously, they've got a lot of ground to make up with how badly they launched the original game, but obviously fix it.
And talk about a rags to riches story, jeez.
For sure, yeah. And obviously, like people love Phantom Liberty, and like it's in a much better space now. And I still have it on my Xbox. I need to go back to it. That's one of those ones where I'm just like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get back to this game because it's just such an investment, but I should. But apparently they're aiming to develop the most realistic crowds ever seen in a video game, which I guess they're going to try and put that on the box or whatever. But also apparently like the fact that like a Boston studio is working on it, they kind of, as people are kind of thinking that it might be a bit more traditionally American as opposed to a Polish studio making a like a sort of Pacific Northwest or I don't know. I'm curious to see what goes with it. Yeah.
Yeah, they got the bones for it now. So.
Still?
I guess it depends on the ending you got.
Whoa! Spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not.
Spoilers.
I'm not gonna. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 different endings to that game, so
all right, fair enough.
Not all of them go super great for Keanu Reeves. I'll tell you that right now.
All right, fair enough.
I think after how they did the first game and then the DLC, I bet we'll have a celebrity in it.
Oh, sure, 100%. Like, hey, yeah, 100%. They'll definitely do
so-and-so in it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the celebrity in the DLC for the first game?
Idris Elba.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was fucking great in that too.
Yeah, I've heard he was really good in that.
Yeah. And they also got Keanu back in to redo some extra lines and stuff for that too. So it was really, the DLC in particular apparently was very, very good. I need to, that's actually my main driver to go back and play the game. But yeah, I'm very, very curious to see what they do. I mean, have you guys played, I assume you guys haven't run through Cyberpunk anymore since it came out?
Nope.
I need to go back. It's on the list. We'll get there.
Yeah. I actually, my friend actually bought it for me. So I do actually own it. So I do want to get to it.
Yes.
I bought the $250 edition with him on the bike.
Oh.
Yikes.
We just talked about this.
Yeah, see, I think, Jake, we need to see a picture of that in overpriced garbage pretty quickly, actually, after this. Now that you revealed that. But yeah.
Hey, 2K, he'll pay $200.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. He'll buy anything. You don't need to finish the game.
Give him some toys or something. And
yeah, I was thinking about buying the $200 version of Night Rain 2. Sheesh.
Ooh,
oh, no.
Tempting. Night Rain's like this week or something, isn't it, right? Is it? Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
it is.
30th.
Yes, end of
30th.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to find time for that. Hideo Kojima We talked a bit about him the other week. His leaving his ideas on a USB stick in case he dies in a horrible accident, so people can still making games under Kojima Productions, which is I mean,
Love Kojima.
he's just so out there, but I love it. Yeah. He basically has been talking about some of his things he's been working on. Obviously, Death Stranding 2 is coming out this year. Got a lot of rave previews currently. People are really, really liking it. Apparently, it just kind of takes what worked in the original and just kind of softens some of those edges for those people who don't like it, or people who had issues with some of the stuff. Even I'm considering playing it, and I don't. That game is a literal walking sim. He's also been working on OD Overdrive, which is the one that got leaked a while ago, and they kind of confirmed. Was it last year or the year before? For Microsoft, and kind of doing an exclusive game there. He's also working on Scient, or Scient, which is his kind of, I guess, spiritual successor to the Metal Gear franchise, doing that for PlayStation, for Sony. He is a busy man, clearly. He's obviously working on a lot of stuff. And so, Scient is in development, apparently, but he said that it'll take another 5 to 6 years. And again, we were just talking about how game development takes a long time. And it's so weird to think about, this game that they've announced, it's 6 years away, is a normal thing for someone to say. We're hearing now already about games coming out 2028, 2027, 2028. Those development cycles just getting longer and longer and longer. Scient was announced in 2024. So, I mean, this is definitely going to be a next-gen game, right? There's no way this is a
Oh yeah, no.
5. This is a PlayStation 6
Absolutely.
game, for sure. Apparently very inspired by cinema, which is no surprise. But I don't know, what do you think? I just wanted to kind of bring up the idea of, how do you feel about, things being announced this far out from when they're actually coming out?
We've seen it before, right? Mm-hmm. I remember when Battlefront was announced.
Yeah.
For the next gen remake. I remember when Final Fantasy VII remake was announced. Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced. I have opinions on games being announced too soon, I think, which aren't super in-depth opinions other than just kind of why, wait a little longer, just keep cooking. Unless you're not releasing anything else. If you've got other games coming out before then, focus on just hyping up those games. But if you have nothing going on and you just want people to know, hey, we're still alive and kicking, maybe drop your announcement that we're working on a game that'll be done in 6 years, but we're still here. Hello,
You hear that, Team Cherry?
Get it, but yeah, yeah. Hey, apparently
Hollow Knight any day now.
Isn't that
any day now.
Day and date with Switch 2, apparently, according to, I think,
It's
is what they said.
Can't believe they dropped that in a freaking montage. Man, what a troll.
I mean, I don't, everyone who flipped out, I'm just you clearly don't remember Summer Games Fest 2021 or whatever it was, where they were all of these games are coming out within the next 12 months.
On Xbox.
And on Xbox
very soon
Game
after they're
Pass.
except Hollow Knight.
Yeah,
big
asterisk on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think very soon after they're except that one, not that one.
They went back on that one, but still, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. I don't know. If there's anyone that I think is allowed to take their sweet time, announce games when they want, and spend all the money in years, I think Kojima is the one. He's one of the few people who he's not being pressured by a developer. I've seen so many interviews with developers or publishers who are yeah, no, working with him's a nightmare. He just keeps asking for more money and more time and more money and more he's doing what he's doing, not for money, not for this is the water physics or the weird bipedal robot physics aren't quite right. We got to get it just right. Just a little longer, or the boxes don't tilt quite right when Normus Reedus is walking. We need another 2 years, Okay, Kojima, cool.
There is a big reason why Metal Gear Solid 5 is the way it is, right? And that's just because they just had to stop making it at some point.
Yeah, Kojima, there's an intervention, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Konami's you need to stop. You need help. We want money. We don't care about your art. We want money now, please. Thank you. So, yeah, no, go for it, man.
Sticking with
Artiste.
Metal Gear, Metal Gear Solid Delta coming out later this year. Very, very excited for that one. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the Kojima's. I would say this is probably his magnum opus. I think it was the best game that he made. Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater.
I think so.
It turns out as part of it, they've been talking about the development and kind of how it worked. And originally, apparently, they were going to allow you to swap between the original and the new version, kind of similar to how like Soul Reaver and Halo have done it. And decided that actually that's way too much work, and they're just going to make this new game as is, put some quality of life stuff. I'm so curious around like what they've chosen to fix and what they've left, because so much of that game there's a soul to that game around its kind of like jank mechanics. But the big thing
I hope I can save and quit at the end and come back 3 days later and he's dead.
Yeah, the end is dead. Yeah, that would be great. They
better
have to
keep
keep that.
There's
right?
no way they don't get rid of that.
Yeah, come on.
Or there's no way they get rid of that. Like,
Yeah,
there's
come
no
on.
way.
Like,
It's got to be there.
There's so much like, Snake Eater.
I think this will be a pretty faithful recreation.
Yeah, I think so too. It is a bit weird to have this kind of game that is like Kojima's probably like I said, my favorite game of his at least, and just having him not involved at all and just kind of being like, well, we're doing it again. We're just kind of remaking it, which I get, but it's just kind of weird. But
See, I think with this, they get their cake and eat it too, because they get to put Metal Gear Solid 5's more modern mechanics and look to it on Metal Gear Solid 3, which still has all of that Kojima-ness without needing Kojima. So they get to make a Metal Gear Solid game that everyone's going to like and love all the quirkiness and weirdness, but it looks pretty. And
yeah. I do know now that I'm going to name this episode Have Your Snake and Eat It Too. So thanks for that.
yes. You're welcome.
But yes, as part of that, Cynthia Harrell has actually re-recorded the original intro from 20 years ago of the Snake Eater song, which is obviously Kojima's take on a Bond intro. It's so good, and the new one is she's still got it. It's still absolutely fantastic. It's again a little different. It's a re-recording, like it's a an updated version, but they kind of showed off like the opening movie cinematic that's going to be in the game, and I'm stupidly excited. Coming out August 28th. Curious how much they're going to charge for it now, based on our discussion we've been having around the other stuff. But yeah, looking really, really good. And then last one, arguably one of the bigger news stories this week. Bungie have been getting in a little bit of hot water again because of plagiarism. So Marathon's art director, has basically been. So there was a live stream planned earlier this week, and basically all of the footage got pulled from it. So they were going to show off some of the new environments and that kind of stuff. They can't show any of that now because they have to go check all of it for plagiarism to make sure all the art assets are original. They don't want to risk putting out anything, but they still had the live stream, which was very awkward. It was basically just a lot of really awkward questions. A couple of guys sitting there just kind of talking about shit. It was, I tuned in for a little bit. It was too painful for me to watch. But yeah, they're doing a thorough review process. But basically, yes, there's a Scottish.
My understanding was it was like not just like a couple pieces of art. It was like the entire game's aesthetic.
Well,
was ripped off of this guy.
Posters,
sort of. It's some. I think it's somewhere in between, because obviously the aesthetic is something that's been around for a lot. Like this kind of like blocky, like high contrast color stuff is like stuff you see in like Wipeout and games. Like again, like games that like it's not just there have been other games that have kind of done this sort of style, but a lot of like actual straight up just assets of like posters and things that this person made, Fern Hook, basically just like literally just lifted wholesale from like a style sheet and just put straight into the game. And she was like, yeah, like obviously she's like, I don't have the resources to go and fight this, but obviously this is just like not okay. Like this is really fucked. And so Bungie have again gone through and kind of like, and if you look at the like side by sides, it's not like, oh, we took some ideas and redid them. It's literal just copy and paste. Like the icons are the same, the layout is the same, the text and everything is
pretty bad.
It's really bad. So obviously Marathon is Bungie's next big things now that sort of Destiny seems to be winding down. I don't know. I mean, this isn't even the first time they've been caught plagiarizing stuff. To be fair, like this is like the third or fourth time. There's a lot of.
It's an awkward situation because I mean, not only there was already like people were already talking about Marathon being like, I don't know, jumping on a trend, like maybe too late, extraction shooter too late. There's not really a market for it.
Charging
anymore,
money for it not being free to play.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I don't know, this whole game feels like DOA to me.
It feels cursed, right? Like I'm really concerned about how this is going to go over.
Did either of you ever play Durandal, the other Marathon game?
Yeah, way back in the day, like the old '90s version.
The Mac game.
Yeah, the Mac game a little bit.
It's on backwards compatible.
It is true.
It's on Xbox.
Yeah, it is on Xbox. Yeah, I played a little bit of it.
I was wondering, was it good?
I mean, it was like a Doom clone. Like I think again, I'm speaking from '90s memory here. So I mean, I liked it as a kid, but I don't know how well that translates to quality these days.
It's a boomer shooter.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, it looks like multiplayer and stuff. So I was curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I mean, that's what Bungie's thing lately, right? Like they're always Sony. Does Sony own Bungie? Sony owns Bungie.
They do. They paid like $3 billion for them, which apparently is not super working out for them.
Which is mostly Destiny at this point. But yeah, that's Sony's thing. Boomer, like platform or games as a platform and shooters and
and Sony
Concord
just kind of canceling their live services left, right, and center at this point.
That's Sony's thing, is releasing games that are DOA. That's
but no, but
slow to change, man.
I mean, what the original plan was they were going to do 12 live. They were like, oh, we're working on 12 different live service games.
Stupid number.
And then they halved
more
it.
Than
like,
two.
We're only working on 6.
Stupid number.
And then it was like, oh, Helldivers was great. And then it's like, okay, so Naughty Dog canceled their thing that they were doing with the Last of Us. Yeah, Last of Us sort of spin-off they were doing. Destiny is basically done. I mean, obviously they're doing some content for it, but they got like a Star Wars collab going and stuff. So, but no big expansions. I mean, obviously Concord was an absolute flop and just kind of disintegrated.
Oh, Concord.
And yeah, now Marathon is kind of what they're putting their hopes and dreams on, and the response has just kind of not been great from previews, and people think like the aesthetic looks good, but then it turns out a bunch of the aesthetic has been stolen. So it's like, shit, what do they got going for them? And then just to reiterate, like this is coming out in September. Like this is not like, oh, we're a couple of years away. Like this is Sony's big thing for this year, right?
So it's coming out.
It's coming out. Yeah. So and they're charging for it too. Like I said, this is gonna be a premium product. This might be an $80 game. Probably I don't think that,
oh man.
Right. I don't know if they're gonna be brave enough to do that.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they do want people to play it. But I'm sure it'll be in PS Plus pretty quickly because they want to keep the audience there. But best of luck to them. But like I said, this isn't even the first time they've been called for plagiarism. It is a bit of an awkward situation for Bungie, who have kind of been getting it at both ends when it comes to just like not having big hits, laying off a bunch of people. Like, they're in a bit of a weird spot.
Let's face it, it's probably kicking the gut for most of the studio too. It's not like everyone had a hands-on meeting like we're going to plagiarize this artist today.
Yeah, sure.
There's probably 1 or 2 guys tops maybe that just didn't want to do their job, and now the entire game might be. This is going to carry. I mean, I'm sure Randy Pitchford was so happy this popped up later in the week.
Exactly.
And it's like,
whew, take the heat off.
This is going to be a big talking point every time this game's mentioned now. So
exactly.
That's a shame.
I want a quick tangent because Concord was brought up, and that game fascinates me to no end. With what it did. I recently saw someone talking about Concord, and they were like, I mean, they're talking about part of the reason it flopped is because anytime like when it was first being really unveiled, it was only ever shown as like just like a name flashed on the screen at like the end of a press conference.
Sure.
Like they're doing, here's your state of play, and then they just flash Concord.
We're working
and then
on
it
this.
ends. Yeah, and it's kind of, it's really funny for me to think that a bunch of like Sony heads, like Sony bosses and stuff, knowing what Concord's supposed to be, getting all like giddy and excited, and they're like, "We're gonna unveil it," and we're so excited to unveil, and like to say we're working on Concord, and everyone else is gonna be so excited because we're so excited, but it's like they show Concord, and everyone's like, "What is that? What do you mean?" What is that?
Wait,
It's
what
just
do you
like,
mean it's coming out this year and you haven't tested it?
what are you talking about? What's Concord? And Sony is all like, everyone's like, we're so excited, so they should be excited. It's like, no, you didn't tell anyone what it was.
I mean,
That cutscene was really cool. I mean, I think everyone
yeah.
was really excited. Like it made I feel like that cutscene obviously made a big impression. Like everyone was talking about all the super unique characters that very iconic that were named
Yep.
Baz, De Veers. Yep, everyone knew that one. Kips, Star Child.
Dude, I didn't know what Concord was.
Lennox.
I'm in the gamosphere. I didn't know what Concord was until they pulled the plug on it. I'll be full honest with you.
Really?
They were like, I literally saw headlines that like, oh, Sony's new game is canned after just 2 weeks, and I was just like, oh, what is this? Okay, and then that's when I started seeing, like, learning about it, and I was like, Jesus. Well, that's why I didn't even know about it, and I'm like, I'm a gamer.
Game with a capital G. Yeah, no, for sure. I get what you mean, though. I mean, obviously, there's the element of that it was a Sony thing, so I didn't know too much about it. But I was keeping track of it because a lot of people were talking about how it was having like open betas and low player numbers and kind of didn't seem to be performing super well. And they were charging for it and all that kind of stuff. And they said they didn't want to transition to free to play. And I don't know. I just... Yeah, I totally get what you mean there about like Sony being like, yeah, we're excited. We were so excited about the studio and this game that we bought the studio before the game was even out. And they were like this, and like internally, apparently they were like, this is going to be our new Star Wars. This is going to be our big franchise that we're going to launch everything off.
The trailer kind of came off that way.
Yeah, and like,
I just like to think that they thought because they were so excited, everyone else was going to be excited.
Yeah.
And because they knew what Concord was, when all they did was flash the name on a screen at the end of a press conference, everyone was supposed to know how to react to that. But it's like, we don't have any context. You guys have the context. You didn't give us any context. We don't know what this is.
There's no build up, and like it just, And I think that people, like, I mean, obviously, Shane, you were joking about like the cutscenes and stuff. To be fair, from a technical perspective, the cutscene stuff was very impressive. Like obviously, they spent a lot of money.
We're watching and going, oh.
I was like, wow, okay, this is
cool.
I mean, the content is kind of boring and not that interesting, and like, but like maybe there's something here. But then you're like, oh, but it's not like a, squad-based shooter or like a single-player co-op game or something. It's like, no, it's a 6v6 Overwatch clone.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to be like Harrison.
We're watching gameplay and going, oh.
You're like, oh, wait a minute, this is not. Why are you putting so much? Like, it's like, oh, well, yeah, I know why they're doing it. It's
boring.
Because they saw Overwatch do the same thing, where they were like, we're going to do high production cutscenes and then do multiplayer gameplay, and then, but then also promise a single player mode that gets canned. So I don't know. It's just,
but they don't have the Blizzard money to back it up.
That is true. Well, now they got Microsoft money to back them up. So they just
yeah, that too.
Yeah, but it's,
Concord.
But yeah, so Sony are in an interesting spot this year. I wonder what else they've got coming out. Because that other game that Naughty Dog
still top selling consoles, so
that's true. They definitely they're still doing okay on the console front. Although that's going up in price now too. So who knows?
That's fair. And the Switch 2 is right on the horizon. So
all right. But I think that's it for news. Chatted for a little while, so let's get into Game Pass updates. Jake, do you happen to have the Trello open?
I do. I can read it off.
Yeah, go for it.
Like. Yeah, so Game Pass updates we have joining today, according to the Trello. I cannot fact track that other than Matt.
Well, they're available now, at least, we'll say.
Monster Train 2 is on Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass. Creatures of Ava is on Game Pass Standard. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl got added to Game Pass Standard. Tales of Kinzera Zao got added to Game Pass Ultimate and a PC Game Pass via EA Play. May 27th, we have Tom Clancy's The Division 2 coming to Game Pass Ultimate Standard and PC Game Pass. May 28th is To a T coming to Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass. May 29th, Metaphor ReFantasio coming to Game Pass Ultimate, Standard, and PC Game Pass. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Spray Paint Simulator. I wonder how much that's like. Power Wash Simulator
Basically
is coming to
identical.
Game Pass.
Yes.
Coming to Game Pass Ultimate on the May 29th as well. And then June 3rd, Crypt Custodian is coming to Game Pass Ultimate, Standard, and PC. And Symphonia, not to be confused with Tales of, is coming to Game Pass Ultimate. And then leaving Game Pass is Remnant 2. Sad, I started it when it came, and I never picked it up since. I'll have to buy that one.
I really enjoyed
Cassette
it.
Beast. Yeah, we'll get there. I'll wait for a good sale, but we'll get there. Cassette Beasts, Humanity, Slayer's X Terminal Aftermath, Vengeance of the Slayer. Don't make your title too short, guys. And Firework Windows is leaving Game Pass at the end of this month.
Yeah, so definitely some ones in there like Tom Clancy. Division 2 obviously is getting a new DLC pack, so they want to try and get people back on board with that. 2 T is made by the same guy who made Katamari. Looks very, very funny.
It's very cute.
Go around, you basically characters just endlessly T-posing while you have to try and do daily activities. Metaphor obviously is a huge get for Game Pass because that was my game of the year and our game of the year because I made the rest of the guys vote for it because it's amazing. And Symphonia looks quite good too, actually. This is a really good list of games. So yeah, definitely go check those out.
I do want to make another stab at Slayer's X. If you have 2 colons in your game's title, what are you doing?
I mean, to be fair, that game is a piss take. Like, that game is, like, it is a boomer shooter making fun of boomer shooters.
Fair enough.
If you've played Hypnospace Outlaw, it's made by one of the characters in that game, Dane, who is the most 90s dude you've ever seen.
Then they probably know how ridiculous it is to have 2 sets of
they
colons
know.
into your title.
It is, it's great. It also has console commands, so does Cassette Beast, so if you do want to get through those quickly, you can do. Humanity is probably the only other one you'd probably get through in time. Oh, Firework, if you have Windows, is quite short. Remnant 2.
Firework's supposed to be pretty quick. I skipped it because I watched the trailer and it didn't, even for 2 hours, tickle my fancy, but
it's
short.
a point-and-click kind of Chinese horror game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's been installed on my laptop for a long time. So I'm glad to finally get around to it.
It just showed up on my, I was looking through PC Game Pass list. And I was like, oh, what's this? I was like, oh, yeah, I'll play through. I wanted something short and easy. Patreon.com/Hall of Gamers if you want to help support the show. Any extra content that we do, so before and after stuff we do, kind of after we stop rolling, I record a bit of extra content there for just shit that we chat about, as well as things like Lights, Camera, and Action, our movie spin-off podcast that we talked about, along with any other extra kind of content and things. We either put them on the Patreon exclusively or at least for a first look. So if you want to join, we don't gate it at any amount. So if you give $2, you give $10 a month, whatever you can give, all of it goes right back into helping support the show, doing things like the Word Challenge, and paying for just hosting the podcast, to be honest. Literally, I just reinvest all of it. So a huge thank you to our current patrons: Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Natolinator, Admiral Awesome, Happy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavalier07, Old Mate Clown, Mace J, Left for Legacy, and McNulty. We literally could not afford to do the show without you guys, so thank you so much. All right, and then we have the monthly theme, which is our bimestral burden. Every 2 months, we come up with a bit of a theme for people to play games around. And so for May and June, it's Blind Leading the Blind, completing games where you're giving orders to your AI teammates and units. So your RTSs, some RPGs, depending on the kind of games, a lot of tactics stuff. You're playing your XCOMs, things like that. But even things where you got companions and your Mass Effects and stuff where you got to tell people what to do and you got a squad. Rainbow Six Vegas is a great example of that. So get on those. Let us know what you're playing. Post your completions on the channel. We, the boys and I have been recently finishing. We just finished up. What was it? I'm trying to remember. We just finished up Breakpoint, but Breakpoint technically counts because you do have AI companions if you want them. But yeah, stuff like that. So yeah, let us know what you're playing. Even if you haven't finished it, we'd be curious just to get some chat going there. Now, speaking of playing games, it's been a couple of weeks since you guys have been on. Shane, what do you got going on?
Yeah, when was the last time I was on?
Would have been maybe 2 weeks ago.
Jeez, what was I even talking about? I definitely talked about Tenchu Z, Chance of Sonar, probably.
Yeah.
Did I talk about South Park? I forget.
Yes, you did. Yes.
It's been a while. Okay, so then Raven Remastered. I went and did that.
Oh, okay, yeah. The point and click one, right? Or the
the massive Agatha Christie ripoff.
yes,
Yeah, that one.
yeah, yeah.
Like, really, guys.
Like ripping off
they
the
did not even
entirety,
try.
like literally just all the way through of Murder on the
They
Orient
even reference
Express.
him. Like, there's an old lady on the train who's writing Hercule Poirot, essentially.
Yeah.
I think she's Agatha Christie. But yeah, no, it's. I did it the 360 XBLA version back 2017, I want to say. So I kind of. Okay, let me rephrase that. Actually, I remember the twist and the ending of that game.
Yeah.
I didn't remember any of the rest of this.
Same.
I was playing through it. I'm like, I don't remember this. I don't remember this. I don't remember this. And this is boring. Hated it. It was not fun. I don't find the story very interesting. Didn't last time either. So, it is what it is. Just want to get a quick one done. But that took me enough time. I had the free time where I also jumped back on Final Fantasy 15 multiplayer Comrades.
Oh, right.
Too long of a name. I forgot why me and my friends stopped playing that. I totally forgot that I needed to level up a chocobo in that game, which you do by finding a random one, and then you have to train it, but only they have RNG elements where the chocobo you get might not be able to even get as strong as you need it to get.
Yeah.
So I had been told I needed to do that. We logged off, and then I completely forgot for months. So I quickly jumped back on. It took me not even 30 minutes to find the right chocobo and get it leveled up to what I needed to. So nice and quick, and then he jumped on and we did a little bit more. So someday I'll finish that one. I'm not super worried. And then Cassette Beast. I've been playing that. Like you mentioned in the leaving Game Pass and everything else, it's got console commands. If you really want to finish it, it takes probably, a minute, I think. You just copy and paste a giant line of text and code, and it'll just unlock all the achievements for you. But I actually remember installing this on my laptop and playing it next to Stevie in the hospital. And I loaded it up, and I was like, this is something I'd love to play later, maybe when I got a little more free time. Almost exactly a year ago, actually, or 2 years ago. And I ended up playing real-time strategy troll game. Shoot.
Real-time strategy troll game.
Almost like it was on Game Pass. Shoot. It's like Advance Wars, but you're little monsters. Not cassette. I would call it Cassette Beast, but it's not that. I forget what it's called. Anyway, I played something else. Case in point. And so yeah, I want to actually play it. It's Pokemon. I like Pokemon a lot. I got through today. I finished up the end boss. I have caught all but I think one monster, which I was raging at earlier. Which, if you've played Pokemon, it's one of the elemental dogs from Gold and Silver,
right.
where they randomly spawn around the map. Unlike those games, though, you can tell where they are to an extent. Every time I ran into this wench, she killed me, like badly. Like I would I would lock on cassette tapes over and over again, and she just kept killing me. So, tomorrow I will be console commanding the rest of the game and be done with it. So I can move on to, I want to do that Slayer X game, I want to do Humanity, and I want to do Firework. So, as I said, I've had that installed on my laptop almost since it released on Game Pass, because as a just-in-case while I'm on vacation game, because it didn't need the cloud. It's on my laptop. So, yeah, I'll finally get around to that. Yeah, that's Cassette Beast all week is what I've been playing. Like
Nice.
6 to 8 hours a day. Just been nerding out to that game. So definitely a long one. But I like it. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's got some neat ideas. If anyone's ever played Pokemon, it's not just this attack does double damage to this Pokemon and half attack damage to this Pokemon. It's like, oh, this monster's ice. So if you hit it with fire, it turns into a water type. If you hit it with fire again, then it would start steaming, and that heals it. But then if you hit it with ice, it would freeze. If you hit it with water again, then it layers up ice, because it's really complicated. Like, to the point where I beat the game and someone hit me with an attack and it still popped up a tutorial like, oh, this is what happens with it. Like, yes, there's another thing I didn't know yet. Jeez. So, but yeah, it's a really cool idea, but it has definitely worn its welcome out a little bit. I'm super over it. So, neat. But that's all I did this week, pretty much.
I'll quickly go through mine. I say quickly, it's never quick. I can acknowledge that. I finished up Doom: The Dark Ages, so I talked about this last week. I was kind of at like chapter 20, so like right towards the end of the game. Finished that up. That game's really cool. It's I like it more than Eternal, but less than 2016. I think that it's very accessible. It's got like difficulty sliders. You can reduce damage coming towards you to like 50%, and you can increase your damage by like 1,000 times. So you can do it's ridiculous. Like you can just rip through this game, no problem, if you want to play it on like the absolute easiest difficulty possible. Collectible, there's all kinds of collectibles. The story is just trash. It is like, again, I'm kind of reiterating what I said last week, but it is really just kind of bad, unfortunately. Like I was really disappointed with how the story went. I was kind of hoping that they were going to do more with it because it is so in your face. Again, like 2016 has like a very minimal story. In fact, like the Doomslayer punches the screen when you try to when Sam tries to give you an objective.
Yeah,
one of my favorite bits of the entire game. And so like Eternal has like a little bit more, like they obviously lean more into like the story element stuff, but they don't over explain things for the most part. Like at least not in the cutscenes. Like I was confused in the cutscenes, but I wasn't like, okay, I'm sitting here for ages. It was pretty quick. This game has long cutscenes. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of characters, no introductions, expects you to understand all this. Like it was not good. But I had a good time playing through it. It's very, very visceral. There is something there's something so gratifying about just like charging into an enemies with your shield, throwing a shield at a dude, hitting him with a fucking mace, and then just shotgunning him in the face. Like it's the loop.
That murder chunky.
It's real chunky. Like it's great, and like it feels like you're playing like Space Marine, like you're stomping around and just being like a big unstoppable force of nature. And obviously, like playing with the sliders and like the different weapons, I liked it a lot. I think
I've been told, or from what I've seen, a lot of people are saying this is like the first of the new Dooms where you like really feel like the Doom Slayer.
100%. Yeah, you're like a tough fucking like the way they pitched it was that like you're a tank as opposed to Eternal where you're more of a jet fighter, whereas like a lot of fast maneuvering and kind of getting around enemies and just fucking them up without getting taken against yourself. This game's like you take a hit, it doesn't fucking matter for the most part. There's a lot of parrying and like color stuff, so like you're able to actually change the color of the projectiles you can parry. So they were all blue for me, which was much more helpful than like green and red. But yeah, like I said, full of accessibility options. It's really straightforward. They added some like open worldy kind of areas, which is like basically just put you in a zone and you just kind of do objectives around the zone. I don't know if that really adds anything to the game, but it's fine. Like it's interesting to see. Skyboxes are great, art is great, music is okay. It's very much not Mick Gordon though. Like I just, like unfortunately, like it just is what it is.
And here is what I'll say about that, because that's what I've seen too a lot. Is like, it's not Mick Gordon. Mick Gordon's fantastic, 100%. But I have listened to some of the music from Dark Ages, and I almost feel like the sort of gritty, electric-y, high-octane metal isn't... I mean, if it's 2016 and Eternal,
yeah,
but the more traditional chuggy guitars, low-tune chuggy guitars with it's just the guitars and the drums, and there's no like heavy electronics behind it, makes sense for the set piece of Dark Ages.
I would agree. I would agree. I think it fits the tone well enough. I just don't think it's... the way it's mixed, and also how it is against like the rest of the game, it really feels almost quiet. Like they're almost embarrassed to have like it. I don't know.
That's what I've heard too. I'm gonna turn it up. I'm gonna just go into the settings.
That's what I'm
just gonna go bump everything down, bring the music up, and then level the whole sound out with the master volume or something like that. That's what I'll do.
But I definitely recommend playing this. I think that like, and again, this is if you play it on the easiest difficulty, and you just want to kind of rush through and just have like a cool fucking experience, you'll get this game done in a weekend. Like it's 22 levels, but I like. Again, the problem I had with Eternal was that the levels were probably a bit too long. Like they dragged on for a bit. This game is punchy. It is like you're going to play for a level for maybe like 20 minutes, and then you're on to the next level. And I was like, perfect, great. Bite-sized stuff. Doesn't feel like it oversays its welcome. The challenges aren't too difficult. You don't feel like you're scouring everything for... Like, the collectibles are relatively easy to find. I mean, use a guide if you need to, but, like, whatever. I I know there are some slightly glitchy achievements, as I kind of mentioned. Like don't buy any upgrades till you have all the upgrades available to you, because there's some glitches where you might not get the achievement for it. And then there was one other one, but it's like, I think, to be fair, by the time you're hearing this, they probably patched them out by this stage. They're pretty good about that kind of stuff. But yeah, I would recommend it. From a tonal perspective, the like last third of the game takes like a real shift in a way that like I don't want to spoil, that I really liked. I don't know if everyone's gonna like it, but I think it kind of definitely was like, oh, cool, okay, this is they're not afraid to do some like not just the kind of regular Doom shit here. There's some interesting stuff here.
It's always cool.
Yeah, I was like, cool. Take some swings. That's great. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's on Game Pass. Get into it. You'll have a good time. I've also been playing The Division 2. So like I said, Cameron, Keo, and Stubby and I finished up Breakpoint, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. So we decided we wanted another co-op game to play. Division's coming to Game Pass, so we jumped on that. I already own it because it's been like on a million sales. And so, yeah, been playing.
I think about it for like $3.
Yeah, they've basically been giving it away. It's fun. It's great. Like it's pretty bare bones, but we're having a good time with it. It's just more of the same with the first game so far. We're maybe halfway through the campaign. I think we're like level 15 out of like 30 for the base game, so we're about halfway through the story. I mean, it's pretty bare bones, but it's a good co-op game. We're having some fun squad times. Keo's already finished it, so he's going to jump on with us for the new expansion when it comes out. But yeah, but I'm only like 5 or 6 hours into it, so we'll talk more about it later. The two big ones I've been playing has been Octopath Traveler 2, which I started a fair while ago, back I think in like February or something. And I was like, fuck, it's coming up on June. I know it's been a year. There's a good chance it'll be leaving Game Pass. Apparently, it might be in for another 6 months or so, but I'm not going to put my hand on that for a 100-hour game. So I was like, cool, put some time into it, make some progress. So I've gone from like 5 hours to about 20 hours I saw over the week or so. I'm struggling. It's definitely a better game than the first game. It has more. It's got like better quality of life stuff. It's got some new mechanics. There's like crossover stories, but it has all of the same problems. It doesn't have a cohesive narrative, right? And I know that this is a game where you go around collecting 8 different characters and they each have their own stories. Their stories don't really cross over. They have added some new crossover like mini stories between like two of the. There's like 4 mini stories that have 2 of the different characters that have like a team up thing. But the narratives range.
That's the same problem as 1,
exactly
right?
the same problem as 1. It has exactly the same problem as 1, where it's like, because the game doesn't know which characters you have, what stories you've seen, they can't relate to each other. It has the Ubisoft problem, which is crazy to me. And so the stories range from my wife and family were killed by my best friend who burned down my house, and I got blamed for it and thrown in prison, and I have to break out of jail. And I was like, this is fucking compelling shit. To, I am a dancer, I want to be a superstar, I'm going to go and try and spread joy by dancing. And I was like, I don't know how you put those 2 people in a party together and go, this is the story, guys. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And it's like, okay, one of them is like, I'm an alchemist or like an apothecary who's lost their memories, but I seem to come from some sort of weird, I have a big history of healing people, but also belonging to a shadowy organization. And then one of them is like, I'm investigating the murder of a high-ranking religious official. Like, there's a lot of interesting storylines, but like I said, you have to put them together in a group, and you got to swap them out to make sure they do the right stories. The stories are level-gated, and it's not like you go from chapter 1 of a story to chapter 5 of a story and you get the whole narrative. It's, well, I did chapter 1 of this one, and now I need to do chapter 1 of this one, and then chapter 1 of this one, and then this chapter 2 is actually too high level, so I need to do chapter 3 of this one and come back to... It's a fucking mess. And...
sounds like it.
Even like, you know, again, I played a decent chunk of this a few months ago, and I'm trying to go back and remember what I talked about. And like, there's some good journal stuff that you can read to remind yourself, but it just feels so disjointed and just really not, and like, narrative is the big thing that pushes me forward, right? And just really not compelling. Which I feel bad about, because like mechanically it's the same game. They've made some improvements.
Is Live to Live on Xbox yet?
Not yet. That's
okay.
That's one that I definitely do want to play, but it's not on Xbox yet, unfortunately. I don't think so anyway. But yes, I'm just like, it has the exact same problems as the first game, with quality of life improvements, but it is a one-trick pony doing the trick again. And I know people love the original game because of its art style and it's like retro throwback stuff, but I'm just really not. It's really I'm pulling teeth trying to get through it because I'm like, I've started this. Yeah.
Is Triangle Strategy on Xbox yet?
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see how that compares.
Yeah. Yeah, because I like JRPGs, right? Like obviously they're one of those compelling games that I really like. I like the genre for the most part. I mean, it's hard to pick a good one, right? Because you're like, is this worth investing 80 hours into? But I was really hoping this was kind of going to solve some of those issues, and it does solve some of them, but not the core issues. Unfortunately, it's just kind of more of the same. The one thing I definitely want to talk about though is Expedition 33. Clear Obscura Expedition 33 is my game of the year, hands down, not even close. So I love that game. Just finished the story this afternoon. That is incredible. I was gonna say I don't want to oversell it, but it's just fucking fantastic. If you don't know what the game is, it's on Game Pass. It's a JRPG because it's a JRPG styling made by a French studio. So it is very much like turn-based battles with active time battle mechanic. Well, it was with some like timing-based mechanics around like parrying and dodging, and also doing extra damage to enemies. So think like Sea of Stars or the latest Paper Mario and those kind of Mario Luigi games, that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. But with like a really, really stylish, like style-wise, this game reminds me of so many other games. It is clearly like made by a team who just love video games and understand what they wanted to do here. It's got elements of Final Fantasy. It has big Final Fantasy X influence in terms of like it's like it is an expedition, like it's an odyssey. It is a journey from you are going to go from one place to another, and you're going to have a lot of fucked up shit happen along the way. And the idea is that this world is there's a paintress who lives on the far side of this world. Has a monolith where she paints a number, and anyone above that age dies immediately. And it's called the Gamage, and they turn into petals and just disappear. And so there is a society that is built around this of sending people who are 1 year away from dying, going on an expedition to go and try and stop the paintress. And obviously it gets more complex from there, but the idea is that you play as Gustav, as the main character, who is one of the members of this new expedition with his teammates. And obviously it all goes to shit immediately because they're going out into a world that they do not understand. Because like they basically build a shield around their city of Lumiere. And so they have to go on this adventure to basically get to the paintress at the other side of the world that you can see. And it's constantly in the horizon. You get closer and closer and closer. And yeah, it gets more complex from there. I don't want to say anything more about the story because anything more would be spoilers.
Please don't.
Yeah. Amazing voice cast. Jennifer English is back at Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate, plays Mael, one of the main characters. She's amazing. She's like 16 and she decides to go on this journey way early. She's like, fuck it. I've got years to live
as well,
but I don't have a lot of family. She's an orphan, as I'm sure most people are in this world now. She's like, I'm just like, this is our best chance. Charlie Cox, Daredevil, does the voice of Gustav. Ben Starr is in there as a character. Like the performances are just incredible. The story is really, really good. Small cast, which is great. Like it nails that JRPG. Like I was talking about, like the thing about JRPGs is that like there's the overall narrative, which is great, but obviously the team dynamic needs to be a really, really good part, like the interactivity between your characters. And so learning more about them, what drives them, their histories, and just where the story goes, and the kind of the narrative around like it's a thing about it's a very like the themes are very heavy in this game. It's a game about grief. It's not a happy game. It is it's tough. The influence is just so amazing. Like I said, Final Fantasy X has a lot of Lost Odyssey energy with the kind of idea of like time and like as things change and like what value is and like what do you like if you know what do you do with the time that you have, and there's obviously the Sekiro influence of like parrying and timing mechanics being so important, and like you can beat a boss that's like you're way over leveled for you. Like if it levels like 10 levels above you, you can beat a boss if you're just good at the parrying and dodging mechanics. I mean, you got to be really fucking good because you'd be like one hit death, but you can fight way above where you should be. But there's also like a lot of humor and like levity and like just, yeah, I was enraptured from beginning to end. And so like I'm 25 hours into it. I just finished the main game. Got a bunch of cleanup to do for like there's a whole bunch of side stuff that I haven't even touched yet. But everyone in this house has been like, do not play any more of this game unless we're all watching it because I do not want to miss a minute of it. And so yeah, this is my game. Like I don't even think anything could come close to being game of the year. This is one of the best games I've played in years. And like I play a lot of fucking games, and this is going to stick with me for sure.
And that's the general consensus I've heard from everybody is that this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get to it.
I think
for sure.
The only things that kind of like, there's no mini map. So like when you're in an area, like you can get lost quite easily if you're not like keeping track of stuff, especially when you come out of a battle and you're like, fuck, which way did I come from? Like a little quality of life stuff like that. There's no fast traveling in the overworld, which is a bit annoying. You can fast travel within an area, but that's it. And I think it might be a little bit too hard. I think that the like dodging and parry mechanics are maybe a little bit too hardcore. Even if you bump the difficulty down, like you can just get fucking destroyed with like the again, this has been a complaint I've seen for a lot of people, like the wind ups and like the tells of when people are going to be enemies are going to attack and like the speed of their attacks. Like I just feel like I'm mistiming it quite often. I've gotten pretty good at it, but it's been like through getting my ass handed to me, which again is like that Sekiro way of like hesitation is defeat, etc., etc. But there's some little like mechanical stuff that I think is maybe just tuned a little bit too much on the hardcore side, especially for like something where you're like, I want to see more of this, I want to see more of the narrative. But yeah, I need to do a spoiler cast about this. I need more people to play it. I think we'll definitely talk more about it with a Patreon episode because I just need to get deep into the story and what it means and the themes and all that other fucking French shit. Because this game is also very French. But yes, I just go and play it. Everyone listening to this right now needs to play this game, 100%. Even if you're not a big JRPG fan, it's a must play. But yeah, so that's been me. I'm probably going to be playing a shitload more of it and trying to fit in other games in there where I can, but that's me for this week. Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I haven't been on for a bit, so I've been playing a decent chunk of games, but I won't go too far back, mostly just for what I've been playing since this beginning of May, I guess, but start and finished a couple Game Pass, leaving games, Little Kitty Big City. It was fun. It was cute, chill. I finished it in an afternoon. But then after Little Kitty Big City, I played Haunty, which surprised the heck out of me. I'm so glad I almost didn't because I was like, I don't know if I want to play a game. I got other games I want to play. But I was like, yeah, screw it, whatever. Let's do it. Man, I'm so glad I played Haunty. It was fantastic. It was like a fully black and white, not really black and white, monochrome. That's probably the word to use. Because the zone colors change very slightly depending on the zone you're in. But it was a twin stick shooter collectathon, which worked incredibly well. I love collectathons. It's one of my favorite genres from the PS2 era of things. So super stoked to figure out. And it's not too difficult. There wasn't a ton of things I had to look up. I could kind of just go through each zone without fear I'd be missing anything and complete every zone as I went through. But had a good time with that. It's not on Game Pass anymore, so it's hard to recommend. But if it goes on sale and you didn't play it while it was on Game Pass, I'd still recommend it. It was super fun.
Same.
And then earlier this week, I finally finished Yakuza 0. I spent the last couple weeks working on the what are they? The climax battles.
Mm-hmm.
Those shouldn't have been put in the game. Those were fucking terrible. Have you guys? You've done? You haven't done Yakuza 0?
No.
Okay, so I thought you
I
had.
own it.
So
It's
I thought
again
maybe.
very like it's the one Yakuza game that I own in my backlog.
Then I will go into it a little more in depth than I was planning on. So, everyone, I mean, at this point, Yakuza 0 and Yakuza in general is pretty, infamous with having a large completion list of you have to do pretty much everything in the game, and the mini game in the bulk of the game is side content. So like you can beat the story if you watch all the cutscenes in, I don't know, probably 15, 20-ish hours, maybe, if you watch all the cutscenes, maybe less. And then the other 150 hours you're going to be doing side content, from the side quests to the mini games. Mojang alone probably took me 15 hours of just grinding, because I'm not very good at Mojang, and so it's really just RNG, waiting on getting good hands. Because it's not like Mojang where Windows Mojang. It's poker, competitive 4-player Mojang. So that's a whole different animal to learn, and it's in the ass. But we eventually got through all of that, all that side content, all the completion lists, all the grinding, everything. And then I only had 2 achievements left, and they were to do the climax battles and beat the game on legendary difficulty. I decided I wanted the final achievement to be legendary difficulty because I would like to have, end on a high note, finish the game up both the legendary mode achievement and all the other achievements achievement in the same go. So, okay, I'm on to climax battles. Climax battles are, God, they almost remind me of like the combat challenges from Batman.
Oh no.
With a combat system that's significantly less masterful.
Sure.
Like it's way more difficult to. It's not like a dance like the Batman combat is. It's completely. It's super random. It's super weighty and goofy and so these climax battles, there's 20, there's 32 of them. The first 10 are just varying challenges of just beating up certain guys under certain conditions, and they just start to get more and more difficult. There's one in particular that is literally just a numbers game. Proving Ground 8 was what it was specifically, where basically you start out and you have completely blurred vision, like the vision is skewed a little bit, and so in Yakuza you have 3 different main fighting styles that you can pick from, and they have different movesets. They're good for different things. In this one, your fighting style is changing for you probably every 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds. It won't do it if you're in the middle of a combo, so that's nice. Some of them are not good for what you're working on. Some of them are fine. However, your health is also constantly dropping. So you're constantly changing fighting style. You're constantly dropping health. And you're on a time limit. And it's just, you're fighting some of the most ass enemies in the game. And there's really no strategy. You just have to get lucky and hope you roll the right fighting style, and they don't block the right amount of times, or you don't catch a left hook while you're in the middle of a combo on another guy, and you get knocked on your ass, and that's just a pain in the ass. The next 10, the next 10 were just they were pretty easy. They were just, I think, beating waves of enemies. If I remember correctly, they weren't too difficult. I remember. They were beating waves of enemies in a time limit. They got easier. The time limit became more generous as it went on. I think it was because they're like, we're giving you harder enemies, but it didn't really matter, especially if you know like what the good strats and moves are. Like I think the third or fourth one I had to repeat like a good dozen times to get the timing, because the timing was so tight, and I'd still probably only finish it with like 2 seconds to spare or something. And then the very last one, I had like a whole minute left on the clock. Like, I don't know what they're thinking. The third set was you had to fight, like, there's a special enemy in the game called Mr. Moneybags. And he's just this like, or is it Mr. Moneybags? Mr. Shakedown. Mr. Shakedown. Sorry. And he's just this stupid giant enemy that doesn't take any stagger damage, and every time he hits you, he's doing half your hit health bar. So you get hit twice by this guy, and you're just fucking done. And you have to beat him with like no items, no power ups, like no upgrades, any like stock.
Final destination only. Yep.
Yeah, that kind of shit. That wasn't. But once you kind of figure out how to game it in your favor, it's not too bad. So those didn't take too long. The first one took a while because it was bad, just like straight up skill issue. I'll be honest, it was a skill issue, and then I figured out how rush mode dodging works, and then I was like, oh, I'm untouchable and unbeatable. This is easy. And then the last one's kind of fun. You have to fight both of them at the same time because there's like two of them, and you only have to fight one at a time, but in the main game. Mm-hmm. But this little extra climax battle has you fighting both of them at once, which is kind of fun. And honestly, based on the kit they give you, because they give you two different kits in all of these, they pick between weak Kiryu and Majima and strong Kiryu and Majima, right. Which is like different, progressions through the game, how many upgrades you have, and with the kit you're given to fighting both of them at the same time, it's not that bad. And then the very last set of 6 is basically boss rushes, in a kind of fun way. The first ones you're doing 3 bosses each. You do 3 bosses with Kiryu, but you're fighting bosses you'd only ever fought with Majima.
Right.
So you get a fight with the opposite character. And it goes like 3, and then I think you have to do like 5. And then it gets to where the last 2 are. You have to do 1 with Kiryu and 1 with Majima, where you have to do a boss rush of every boss in the entire game.
Jesus, okay.
Which and you share a health bar also, by the way, across all of them. You share a health bar. You get 10%, a measly 10% health back for every fight.
Ooh.
They weren't as bad as they came across at first. I think the second one is like notoriously the hardest, and then that first one I said in the first set, that Proving Grounds 8 is the one that makes people give up. But God, it felt like it kind of felt like a skid mark on the whole game. Like I really, really wish the game didn't have them, but we got through it. Then we finished Legendary Mode, which was not difficult in the slightest. There were some sketchy spots where I almost died. The limitations for Legendary Mode are there are no checkpoints in missions. It's only manual saves.
Right.
So if you lose mid section, you're going to lose some time and go back, and that kind of sucks. And enemies more aggressive, you do less damage, enemies have more health. However, not by much, not where it really matters a ton. I did my entire Legendary run in 12 hours according to game time. A good probably 4 hours of that was idle, so probably less. I didn't have any upgrades. I didn't do any side content. I just straight ran through the game. You can kind of set yourself up. The version on the Xbox has like a bunch of the DLC included, and you can redeem all that, and you can set yourself up with like 100 million yen on each character, and that's enough to buy healing items constantly. So you're always good on health, and then you can do. I did do one side quest because it gets you a shotgun. That once you unlock the weapon store on the Majima side of things, you unlock it on the Kiryu side of things. And then there's, I believe, I don't remember what it was, but something with Majima gives you like a little slime. They call it a slime launcher. It's like a little grenade launcher that shoots a slime ball that makes people slip on the floor. And eventually you can upgrade that to like just straight up like they call it the zap cannon, and it just shoots a tranquilizer, or not tranquilizer, like a electrifying bolt, and it arcs to enemies and stuff. You just unlock those 2 items, and you stock your inventory with like half of the shotgun, half of the shocky thing, and the game's just a joke. You just run through. Just anytime you're out of ammo, because the items do run out of ammo, you just go back and repair them. Sure. It's like half the cost of the initial item, and with the 1,000,000 yen you gave yourself, it's like a breeze. So Legendary Mode was pretty not daunting as I thought it was going to be at all. But anyway, so finish that. Finish Yakuza 0. I have 1 through 6 coming physically from limited run. I will do them eventually. I need a long break after 0. 0 was a freaking slog, man. That was 2 months of my life.
Very long one.
And then after that, I decided my next main game, which I'll go into in a second, because I also finished today. I finished Split Fiction. Did you guys use? You did Split Fiction.
Cameron and I did, and we had a really, really good time with it, actually.
You had a really good time. So I've been hearing a lot of people say it was really they like the general consensus is it was good. Man, I was kind of unimpressed, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, I played it through with my girlfriend. We also had played It Takes Two, and we played It Takes Two probably back in December-ish together. And yeah, we were both kind of unimpressed. Like, we were super looking forward to it. It was fun, but it was literally just It Takes Two too.
It is
which
more
we were
the same.
kind of.
Yeah.
It is straight up more of the same, which is the formula was good, but I didn't feel like the character. I feel like the characters are kind of annoying.
I agree.
Like,
I definitely think this, like, from a story perspective, I did not like the characters of the story all that much.
I felt like they were frustratingly naive constantly.
Yeah, I thought they were very one note.
Yeah, they had no reason to be the way they were, and they were missing things that were like obvious. And like, I remember Mio started off being just an asshole to Zoe right off rip, and I'm like, you don't know this person. And, like, you guys don't have like some background where like you have a reason to be a jerk to this person. You just are being a jerk. Like, why? That's. But it's like the game is trying to introduce Zoe as like the chip on her shoulder kind of character, but I'm like, that's still like. No one, even people with a chip on their shoulders, aren't like this to strangers. Like, this is silly.
And the villain was like, oh man, I just was not. Yeah.
Yeah. So the story was super
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. The story was super uninteresting. The characters were frustrating, and I felt like of the side worlds, there were 3 that stuck out to me that were really fun. But the rest felt like just kind of walkthroughs, where it's just like you're just walking through a world the devs built, which is whatever. I don't know. We just kind of felt like a lot of the ideas weren't recognized well enough. Like, every level, it felt like they almost had something cool going on. There was one level that we kind of felt was like, yeah, this is really cool. I think it was the one of Mia's levels, where you have the laser guns.
Yeah, the second one. Yeah. The Halo one.
The Halo one. That one was fun. And the last fantasy one was almost like that. It was still pretty. It was pretty good, but it wasn't. It kind of fell short. But I just felt like. All these ideas were like, man, this is a really cool idea. I wish they would expand on it a little more. Like, in It Takes Two maybe had that a little bit too.
Yeah,
I think they expanded a little more on things, and maybe It Takes Two got away with it because it was fresh.
And I think that It Takes Two didn't have the sort of side story stuff to kind of help.
No,
that, because it was very like you went down the route. And those levels were quite long. You spent quite a long time with a lot of those mechanics, whereas this game, you jump between them maybe a little bit more often.
Yeah. And then the other big criticism we had was It Takes Two was filled to the brim with, nothing somethings to do at every corner. Like, there were little things to explore in every single nook and cranny of that game, and they would always, there were things that would make you laugh and chuckle and put a smile, and you're like, oh, that's funny that they did that. Split Fiction had that, but not to
the same extent.
Not to a satisfying level. Like, there were cool things where I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, today when we were finishing it, We were in one of the no spoilers to like what kind of level we were in, but we found a Dark Souls reference,
Oh,
which was
yeah.
super cool. I don't know if
Yeah, yeah.
did you find that one? Yeah. And I'm like, that's really cool. And I got stoked about it. And there were a few moments where it's like, that's really cool. And all it really did was make me go, man, I wish there were more moments in this game that would make me go, that's really cool. Like It Takes Two had. All in all, it was fine. It was serviceable. It was like I didn't have a bad time playing it, but it didn't give me the same. The magic was gone after It Takes Two. Like I wish they would have either done something different with Split Fiction, or the ideas they had they would have maybe expanded on a little better. And those are my main criticisms with it. But ultimately, I would still probably recommend the game overall. But especially if you've never played It Takes Two. If you've never played It Takes Two, you'll probably love Split Fiction, because it'll be your first time with that type of game. But that's enough rambling on Split Fiction. So what I have moved to is my primary game after Yakuza 0 being finished, is, and I alluded to this earlier in the podcast, this sort of self-imposed challenge I'm doing. So I guess I'll go over what that is. I'm trying to beat a game from every release year as far back as my backlog goes, which, if you know anything about me and know that I play a lot of retro games and old games, spins all the way back to 1984. So the challenge is beat one game from every release year from 1984 to 2025, but do it in kind of a way that doesn't make me lose my mind. So I'm starting with 2025, and then I'll do a game from 84, and then I'll do a game from 2024, and then I'll do a game from 85, and I'll go back and forth. So I'm getting a kind of a little bit of modern and old, so I don't drive myself insane by eventually playing games from just the 80s for a while. So that's the goal. In the first game I'm starting with from 2025 is I picked up and started 2 days ago Monster Hunter Wilds. That was the 2025 game I landed on. It was a really hard choice it was really basically between Wilds and Clair Obscura Expedition 33. Where I was like, it's either this one or that one. I went with Wilds because it's new, fresh, and I want to get into it before they start pumping content. And I have a lot of people who I have friends who have so in Monster Hunter World, the hard part is the crowns, because they're grindy and RNG, and will be the bulk of your playtime. In Wilds, you can share, you can create expeditions and share those. And I have friends who have expeditions to share for all the crowns. So I'm just like, I'm going to take advantage of that while my friends have that available. So fuck it, we're going to jump into Wilds. I haven't played a lot. I've played, God, maybe 5 hours, 5 or 6 hours so far. But God, it feels good. Holy crap, it feels good. It's the smoothest Monster Hunter I have ever played, for sure. And I got a week off. I took a week staycation, and I'm gonna dump so many hours into Monster Hunter Wilds, and I can't wait.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been really tempted to play it. It is. I know some people say they sanded off too many of the edges, but I'm definitely one of those people who are more interested now that they've made it more accessible. But yeah.
It feels good, man. It is more accessible. I can already tell, but I don't care because it feels really good. I love a game that makes you feel good playing it. Like you fight an enemy and you're doing your moves, and it's just like, God, man, that felt like butter. That felt smooth. I felt like I was in control of my character and doing cool shit. And Wild so far has been that for me.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to hear more about it because I am curious. I probably will pick it up on a sale or something at some stage, but because I haven't played a Monster Hunter game in a very, very long time, not since the old PSP days and stuff.
Here to be night.
All right. Do you know what your next game's going to be for
84?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know what? I have some games lined up for that whole thing. In 2000, I want to 5 or 6. I gotta look it up. I'm cheating a little bit, and I don't care. It's my party. I'll cry if I want to. In 2006, I'm going to be playing Oblivion Remastered.
Oh, okay.
Eat shit. I don't care. Shut up. I know Oblivion Remastered came out in 2025, but Oblivion came out in 2006, so fuck you.
It is the same game.
Exactly. Same game. And that's kind of the basis I'm following is if it's a remaster or remake, like it goes to the original year it came out. So there might be some asterisks in there from time to time. But 2006, I'm going to be doing Oblivion. 2020, I'm probably going to be doing Doom Eternal, so I can finally catch up on that. So when I'm done with this challenge, I can dive right into Dark Ages. 2017, I want to say this came out. I'm going to do Cuphead. 2007, I think it is. I was going to do Clive Barker's Jericho.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That'd be a quick one.
Yeah. 1990 will be Super Mario World.
Mm-hmm.
84 is either going to be Super Mario Original or I'm just going to... There's not a lot of beatable games that came out in 84. The only really beatable game on my backlog is Mario.
Yeah.
But there are retro achievements for all of them, so it would just be getting all the retro achievements. So it's either going to be Super Mario, or Clu Clu Land seemed kind of interesting, which would only take a couple hours. Like, there's no way the games from 84 aren't single afternooners. Like,
Sure.
They'll be real quick, and I'll be back onto a 2024 game. Haven't figured out a 2024 game. That's going to be tough. I do not know what to play for 24. I want to play Slitterhead. I want to play Indiana Jones. I want to play Astrobot. I want to play Wulong. Like, 2024 is going to be a tough year.
I think Astrobot would be a good pick. Otherwise,
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. God, you saying that might make me just go Astrobot.
Well, I also just want to hear about Astrobot because I don't get to fucking play it, and I really would like to.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll have to do Astrobot. And the cool thing about Wilds is, unlike World, it's only an 80 to 100 hour completion.
Oh,
and I just got off of the backs of a 200 hour completion. So hopefully, World Wilds only takes me a month instead of 2.
Easy. Basically done.
Easy. Basically done. Other than those mentioned, 98. I'm gonna do whatever year Parasite Eve came out. I'm gonna do that.
97 maybe. Yeah.
It was 7 or 8. Yeah. But other than that, I haven't really figured it out. I'll kind of figure it out when I get to each year. And yeah, I'm excited to, because I found myself playing too many, definitely not enough new games. I haven't played really many games that have come out after 2020. And I found myself playing way too many like old games. So I'm like, I need to go all over the spectrum and touch every console I've been neglecting. That's kind of the idea behind it is stop neglecting different consoles and stuff and such. So
variety's the spice of life, right?
Exactly. Maybe next I'll do a console generation challenge, and
that would be interesting.
Do like I don't know, a few games from each of the eras or whatever to really keep me jumping around a lot.
All right. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Great. All right. We've also got the word challenge, everyone's favorite competition where I come up with a game that no one's ever fucking heard of, apparently. And people try to guess it for like 5 weeks in a row, even though I give hints where I'm like, how could you not get this? It turns out no one's ever played Simcopter. Who would have known? So, new challenge, new game, new clue. I come up with the game. If you go on our Discord, go to the word challenge channel. You put the game in. You get 1 guess per hour. A gift pops up. You win. You get some prize money if you want it. Most people don't because it's like $20 and the exchange fees for PayPal make it a complete waste of fucking time. But if you do want the money, otherwise you're just winning prestige. You get to be like Legacy and other people and Stubby who are desperate to get those wins. So, new challenge, new game. This first clue, and the clues usually go from not very helpful to basically giving you the answer. So, this is a not so helpful clue, but we've got to start somewhere. This is a non-numbered sequel. So the game's a sequel, but it doesn't have a number in the title. That's
Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Something like that, exactly. Where it's like exactly, that's exact that kind of thinking. So
that's it. I win.
You nailed it. So get your
the
guesses.
Looker. Does the Looker
the
count?
The Looker does not count. It is a. I don't think they technically counts as a sequel to The Witness.
Okay.
But yes, it's not The Witness. It's never The Witness. And if you put The Witness into the bot, another GIF pops up, usually telling you you're a fucking idiot. So don't put The Witness in unless you like funny GIFs. So yes, best of luck to everyone. There'll be more helpful clues going on. I know people complain that it gets too specific or whatever, but like, you get there.
Got at some point.
Yeah, exactly. I got to start somewhere. We also have the leaderboards. So our TA leaderboard on how much gamer score you've earned each week. In third place, we have Mad Eye Pad Eye with 5,705. Mephisto for the win with 11,540. And Thrash Forever just ahead with 11,915. I do not understand how Thrash keeps this up. Thrash is just, well, okay, I do know for this week because Thrash got a bunch of that as cassette beasts. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Completions. Who wants to read those out? Let's go with you, Shane.
Yeah, about to say I got it. Rapture did Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash. No, that's a tongue twister. Cassette Beasts. Shadowed Slide did X Defiant. The Moon Zom did Doom, The Dark Ages, South of Midnight, and Justant. All good games so far. Cameron did Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Splice did Cat President, A More Perfect Union. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 and Onimusha Warlords. Stupidoo did Ghost Recon Breakpoint as well. The Natalinator did Uno, Need for Speed Most Wanted Remastered. Super Bob did Minecraft Legends and Cassette Beasts. Keo did Ghost Recon Breakpoint and Multiverses. Mike IDV did Multiverses as well. And Left 4 Legacy did Police Simulator, which is also a fun game.
Yeah, I've got that one installed actually. I've been thinking about just playing it as like a in-between game because it looks like it's like
a little preview video in it. It was very fun. I was ticketing people for going a mile over the speed limit. It was great.
Abusing your power immediately.
Immediately. I shot someone right off. Like,
oh my god.
I had to give them desk pops,
That's true. That's true, yeah. And that's pretty much going to bring us to the end of the show. We have our Discord. Make sure you go join that. I would read it out, but it won't make any sense to you because it's not like a nice, easy URL. But check out our Discord. If you need an invite, hit us up. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. You got anything you guys want to shill? Jake, you doing anything? You got any streams or anything going, or any content, quote unquote?
I lied to myself and say one day, but no, I'm a busy boy, so I'm just playing games and shit posting in my Discord.
Great,
as per usual.
I was like, hey, look, that's a full-time job in and of itself.
I'm over here just being an absolute degenerate everywhere I can. That's all it is.
Yeah, definitely check out the Overpriced Garbage channel for that degeneracy for sure.
Heck yeah.
Shane, what about you?
No kidding. FarOcti.com. I'm streaming every night on Twitch. I've got videos going up every day on YouTube. So, hey, content.
Amazing. And I'm Neomaster and everything. True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord. If you want to get a hold of me for whatever reason, if you want to join like our leaderboard channel or our Discord, let me know. I'll get you an invite. Otherwise, I think I have the link on my TA, so go check that out there. But that's going to bring us to the end of episode 170. A thank you to our wonderful live audience, my wonderful co-hosts, and all of our patrons for helping make the show possible. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.